Sports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
Welcome back to the StarSeries I-League Finals Season 4. My name is Hugo. Joining me today is Vendetta, and we've got a big match coming up next. It is going to be the 1-0 winners bracket, so obviously SK versus Mousesports, an important game. And let's just jump right into this. What are we expecting to see coming out from this match?
Obviously a bit of a closer matchup than what we saw SK at least have in their first round. But yeah, just two very good teams overall. SK obviously, no need for an introduction really, former major champions and so on, now finally playing with their full lineup again. And for Mousesports, one of the really, late bloomers of 2017 in that sense. Obviously they had some success in October and outward on, from Mykonos and so on with their roster, and just been a very solid team for the better part of 6 months. And it's showing. They're gradually just getting better and better, which is really fun to see. So I'm expecting them to, really put it to SK and give them a solid match here.
Yeah, and one thing that we can talk about especially is map pools, right? Looking at these two teams, they share maps in the sense of Mirage, Inferno. This is kind of what we're expecting to see. I think this is going to probably go 3 maps in my opinion. But before we have a little bit more of a talk of this, let's have a look at the interview with a member from SK with Parla.
Hello everybody, I'm here with Taco from SK. Now, I did speak to you after your game yesterday, but if you could recap everybody on how that matchup went against MVP Carnal.
I just told people how beautiful you are, like all black. I'm kidding. The match against MVP was the first match for us of the tournament. It was a little shaky in the second map. The first one was really good for us, was a huge result in a map that we feel comfortable now to play. In the last tournaments we were struggling on Inferno, but we did practice a lot this week, this map, so now we are feeling really comfortable to play this map, and I'm just looking forward to play against Mouse now.
Yeah, exactly, and tell us a bit about that. You're about to play Mouse. They've had a pretty good showing so far in the tournament. They had to battle through one map that was in overtime, and so what are your thoughts in general about them?
About Mousesports, our record against them is really good. We won against them many times already. We know the style they like to play as well. So I think it's a really good matchup for us. We are happy that we are facing them.
Alright, so you're confident after this you're going to be 2-0?
Yes, I'm confident that I can't say it's going to be 2-0, but I'm really confident that we can beat them 2-0.
Alright, well, I meant you're confident after the match you'll be 2-0, as in you're confident you'll beat Mousesports.
Yes, I'm really confident that we can beat Mousesports and we can win this tournament. I'm really confident that we can win the tournament, not only against Mousesports.
There we go. Pure confidence coming from Taco. Thank you very much. Epitasio, best of luck.
Thank you, Paula.
Wow, Well, either way, we're going to be jumping into this very shortly, but that is, of course, Taco from SK, and now we're going to look at the roster and obviously the team. You all know them, you all love them, SK Gaming. They just obviously took a 2-0 versus MVP yesterday. A bit of a domination, I would say, especially on that first map, and here are some highlights from that as well.
Yeah, and obviously we got to see Fert finally having a good performance. He's been in a bit of a rut the last couple of months, so good to see him starting off a tournament in a strong manner. And obviously it was fairly one-sided, although we did talk about how MVP kind of looked fairly decent. They kind of showed that in their second matchup today, and the match that just happened versus Virtus Pro. But here you go, the lineup: Coldzera, Taco, Fallen, Fur, and Bolts at the end there, finally able to gather all 5 in one place. No tournaments, restricting them from playing with their actual lineup. Yeah, took a while, but here they finally are. Obviously, they have. Even with the short time they've played with Bolts, managed to rack up a couple of tournaments. So it's not like they're an untested team by any means. And I would, together with FaZe, put them as the biggest favorites, honestly, for the entire tournament, even with the shaky results they've had as of late.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams have been battling for best team in the world in the sense of SK and FaZe, back and forth, mainly in the favour of SK, obviously. But as you say it yourself, a bit shaky recently for some of the players, all the team in general, obviously coming off of a top 4 at the E-League Major as well, losing to Cloud9, who eventually went and won the Major. So
yeah, no shame in losing to them.
Yeah, of course. We were hoping to see an SK FaZe final, but I would say the Cloud9 FaZe final definitely did it justice either way.
Yeah.
And going through the roster now of SK, of course, I feel like most people are going to come into this one and expect them to win. Whether it goes to 3 maps or not, I think that's the question.
Yeah, no, I think that's the big one as well. It's going to be interesting to see, how the map veto pans out. You talked about how there's a lot of overlapping maps for these two sides. In the past, that has favored SK, but then again, I think it's fair to say that SK were at a better stage, I guess, in terms of form than Mousesports were. And Mousesports have made quite the progress since they really had a lot of bouts, because it goes all the way outside of the one map they played at the Major. It goes back all the way to Mykonos since they last time played each other. So obviously Mousesports have taken quite a lot of strides really into improving since then. I mean, we saw them closing out the year with a second place at ECS, obviously bringing FaZe to the very brink of it, and obviously just playing well in general. So it's going to be a difficult task for SK to go up against, but I still think it's fair to say that they are favorites. Then I'm actually leaning more towards the 2-0, but obviously they could change depending on how the map turns out. But yeah, the 2-0 is in my head, at least initially looking at these teams.
Yeah, definitely right. It just depends, does Mousesports come in with anything new? Do they surprise us again? I feel like very expecting to see Mirage in this pool, and
definitely.
I think that's the only place. If this is going to 3 maps, Mousesports need to take Mirage if that does come into play, because that is obviously their best map at least, and that's a map that we've seen them take a lot away from a lot of top teams. And obviously, while we didn't see them go too far in the major playoffs, they actually did very well in the Swiss system. They made it through both the qualifiers and through the group stage of the actual major. But talking of Mouse, let's have a look at an interview again with Parlo.
What is up, everybody? I'm here with Martin, the famous Martin from Life of Martin. We're currently in Season 5. Of course, he plays for Mousesports as well. Lesser known fact. Good to see you. You beat Virtus Pro in a hard-fought best of 3. Had an overtime. Tell us about that matchup.
We felt confident going into the matchup. Virtus Pro is the team that we practice pretty much a lot, and we kind of get a groove on their game, and they get the groove on our game as well. Obviously, that's why they won the Cobblestone, which we threw away kind of, but we managed to come back and crawl back on the other 2 maps. So it was all good, but all in all, pretty good match. I hope we are prepared for the next one.
What do you learn from a matchup like that and then apply into your matchups going forward?
We just kind of realized that we have to be 100% focused no matter what. Even if the enemy team is on the eco round, force by round, we have to be extra careful and doing things that we prepared, that we practiced. So, I mean, we just kind of realized that we have to play our game more than trying to adapt and anti-strat the other team.
And now you're about to play against SK, fierce competition. Give me just a general opinion on them as a team and how you guys compare to them.
Well, obviously they didn't have a good run at CS Summit lately, which was last tournament for them. But on the other hand, we are coming into the matchup as underdog. I feel like they will be having upper hand in terms of map pool, so it will be really hard. Best of 3 series. I imagine it will go probably to all 3 maps, and hopefully with a little bit of luck we can overcome it and eventually win the match.
All right, well, thank you so much, Martin. And remember, guys, head down to your local VHS store. Life of Martin Season 5, coming soon.
Yeah, the best manager is right here, so he's taking care of everything. I'm just doing my part, you know. The job is easy when you have a manager like this.
I love you, bro.
I'll definitely be picking up my copy of Life of Martin, but
Definitely. The 4 first season have been excellent.
yeah, I mean, just top reviews so far. Obviously, that was Stiko with Parla, the latest addition to Mousesports. So I definitely say a good addition as well. Obviously, coming from Hellraisers and a very strong player as well. He's been taking up more of a supportive role on this team. It's been nice to see. Obviously, a lot of firepower on this roster. That's something we have to take into account, isn't it?
Absolutely, and obviously there's been quite a few changes in terms, not just in terms of new faces, but also new roles for a lot of these players. Obviously, Chris J has been the in-game leader for a bit of time now, but I've actually been very, very positively surprised by how well he's done and how he's been able to maintain his fragging, if not just improve it straight up ever since he changed to that role. So I think that's been a massive plus for them. I think Sunny has kind of crept out of the shadows of Oscar as well. We've seen him multiple times just being the one leading the scoreboard for them, especially on a map like Mirage, and we talked about how that's a very big likelihood of seeing that eventually. And then the big dog himself, Oscar, the man with the green rifle, who's going to have to be instrumental in this matchup. If Mousesports is going to have a shot at this, he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Fallen. And then to close it out, Stiko and Robs. Robs, obviously, a lot, very talked about being one of the biggest talents in, probably the entire world within CS. So it's very cool to see that all of these guys have kind of come together and meshed very quickly as well, even with the changes. Because I think a lot of people just spelled immediate doom as soon as Nico left that team when we started seeing all these roster changes happening. But they've definitely landed on their feet and become a solidified top 10 team, and I think they're just going to gradually increase and get better and better.
Yeah, regardless of this matchup, I'm fairly confident the Mousesports should be making it to the playoffs here. Obviously, in the best of 3 format, there's less potential for upset, which means in a game like this, when they're up against SK, maybe we won't see them take this one, but overall, across the broad scheme, they should be able to fight their way through. We've seen them to make it to grand finals. Obviously, in ECS, win one in Mykonos. This team has been very, very strong. So you can't sleep on this team by any means. And going into this matchup, there's a really good potential. Obviously, like you said, Rops, a huge talent for this team. One of the fastest rising pro players ever. I would say, coming from FPL, and in the space 6 months later, he's playing in a major. That's a huge story.
Yeah, that was pretty much Sierra's career put on fast forward.
Yeah.
But it's really fun to see, and obviously, oftentimes you kind of expect rookies to get frustrated when they get thrown into the deep end, but he's been handling himself extremely well. Here we go, the veto for the matchup today, and Mousesports going with an overpass ban. Usually they like to veto cash, but understandable that they want to remove overpass when they're going up against SK. SK on their end going to ban out Nuke immediately, which is pretty much their go-to ban in every single situation. And that leaves Mirage open to be picked for Mousesports. And you mentioned it. It has been kind of a mainstay whenever these two teams have butted heads, and that's going to be a continuing trend as well. Cobblestone for SK as well. I think that's probably the best they could have made out of the situation.
Yep.
Obviously, they have led themselves towards playing Inferno quite a bit in the last couple of tournaments, but I don't think we could ever say that SK have been an extremely comfortable team on Inferno, at least when they go up against higher tier teams.
So that's exactly what Taco just said, right? Let's just think back to the interview just minutes prior. He was saying it, they have been struggling on this map. This is a problem they have, and in a map that's so widely not only picked but also seen, especially as the third map in Best of 3 series. I mean, that's the classic map, right? You need to sharpen up on that map, and they said they've been doing practice. So if we do make it to 3 maps, that'll be an interesting one. But we're starting off on Mirage. We're going to be jumping right into it. SK kicking things off on the CT side after taking that knife round, and Mousesports on the T side. A big matchup here. Mousesports map pick, their opportunity to bring this to 3 maps, in our opinion.
Yeah. And I'm actually kind of sad that SK win the knife round, because one of my favorite teams actually to watch on Mirage, and especially now if we're talking about specific size, is Mousesports on that CT side, because we talk about how it's nice to change up your setups every now and again, throw in some aggression on the CT side. Mousesports just kind of taking that to the next level.
And Rob's just decimated Fallen in the window with a P250. And off that, Mousesports are going to run into B site on this pistol. Cold Zero playing bait. They won't check the corner. Stiko jumps round. Great shot. And now with a double, make it triple entry here for Mousesports onto the bomb site. Bolts is going to be the last man up.
Yeah. Even, just straight up executed. Very efficient round from Mousesports there. Not a whole lot of bullets used, actually. As you mentioned, Fallen just going down immediately to the window, or in the window to Robster with the P250. And we're seeing more and more teams do that. FaZe do it with Rain, for instance. That kind of thing. Just getting that P250 that's so accurate when you're obviously doing single taps, not just like wildly spraying around on long distances.
Yeah, it's so easy to just negate mid, right, when you're on this T side with Glocks. Most teams don't really want to go towards it on these pistol rounds, but that's certainly a way to spice things up. And now we've got pistols in the hand of SK. Deagles, in fact, Fur, trying to pop shots off onto Sunny in middle as Mousesports take control. The smoke will be going down. Mousesports just trying to get mid control here, but with a default setup, they can split up through short to B or even connector to A.
Obviously, we talked about this a lot, how mid control is kind of the staple of how to play Mirage when we saw Tai Lu play this yesterday, and they just kind of went completely away from anything resembling that. Didn't really amount to too many rounds either. So it's good to see that Mousesports are still sticking to the tried and true. For now, obviously, we've seen actually quite a few teams in this tournament and also during the major having massive issues dealing with anti-ecos, more so than usual. And, as I say that, Fur finds the first frag onto Christie in mid. And obviously, it's an ever-going quest kind of for all these teams to figure out what's the optimal way to approach these anti-eco rounds, and nobody really seems to have a good answer for it. Obviously, you want to have long range, but still CZs and Deagles work pretty nicely on long range as well. Don't want to get into close quarter combats, but you have to make it to a bomb site.
It's like that mix-up between we want to make money with SMGs and we also want long-range fights, and you can't have the both. So that's why we see so many upsets on the forces. But SK, they're trying. They've got damage off onto Sunny, and with that first pick as well, it will be traded. Bolts under the Palace. He's going to find Stiko. Bomb dropped in the open. Mousesports need to retrieve that now. Time is ticking away. 15 seconds left on the clock, and Rops luckily is going to come save the day. 2 headshots out of the Palace. I think SK are going to be forced out of this one. Taco dead and Fallen just spamming with a P250. He's got no armor, but damage done to Mousesports.
Damage done. Unfortunate for SK that they aren't able to take down that third player as well. Rob's going very low on HP, but he definitely became the savior over that round coming out of Abs, finding those 2 headshots. Otherwise, it would have been a golden opportunity for SK to literally just sack one of their players. They had 2 towards CT spawn, 1 behind Ticket, and obviously Fur gets taken down by Robs. If Robs just doesn't connect immediately on those shots, it's going to be so much tougher for Mousesports to actually have a safe way of getting down that bomb plant. Time running low as well, that could be a real disaster. And instead, we're going to see the full eco coming out from SK. Not a single pistol bot, actually, but we're seeing a full B stack, and already Sunny's making his way up towards A, so he's going to be able to clear this out for Mousesports. And that's probably why you're seeing Oscar falling back from this B apps bomb following suit as well, already in T-spawn.
Yeah, these pistol rounds are so hard to get anything done with full USPs. So common you see a stack of 50-50 here for SK, and the wrong side of the coin found is, as you say, Sunny opens up the A bomb site, Mousesports have that full rotate, bomb plant comes down, and SK, they're on the wrong side of the map here. The question is, do we go for exits or do we hide so we don't give money away to these SMGs? Because look at Sunny, he's already chasing, just trying to make cash. $600 reward with that Mac 10, so SK need to be very careful. They hold on, waiting for Mousesports to chase them, hoping they can overwhelm them with the amount of players they have on this bomb site, but Mousesports, they want to make some money.
That's actually very underrated fact that you bring up there, that teams don't necessarily always consider the fact that even though you're not losing anything because you haven't bought any weapons, you're giving away a ton of money and allowing your opponents to build a ton of bank. I wouldn't say this is worth it for everyone who doesn't have an SMG, which would be pretty much everyone on that side, aside from Stiko and Sunny. Because if you use an AK, all of a sudden you're not getting a whole lot out of it, and it becomes more expensive for you than what you've would have gained from just getting a couple of AK kills, unless it's the SMG grabbing pretty much everything.
And while it doesn't matter in this map specifically with the buy Mousesports have, but it can be, quite a mind gamey for SK to try and hide. So Mousesports actually run the bonus round, so they keep SMGs in play, take it into this first buy, and then say have 2-3 UMPs, and SK have rifles, and that gives them a lot more confidence. But it doesn't matter. We do still have the Mac 10 on Sunny, but the AWP is out for either side. Armorless on Fallen, but Oscar, he's fully equipped here. So bit of an early progress up towards B here for Mousesports. Taco looking to challenge. We got a flash in, and Oscar just hiding around the corner, so not giving anything away just yet.
Oscar's
Taco's going to look to take control. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to get away with this fight. Surely Oscar goes down here. Taco does the damage, and while he receives a hell of a lot as well, he'll fall back to the site. Chris J, knowing this man's tag, tries to trade, but he's got to be very careful, because if he goes down here, that's a 2-man advantage taken by SK, and there we have it.
Yeah, Chris J just having his blinders on, very eager to find Taco there, obviously knowing that he's very low on HP. But SK with a solid setup there. Cold-Zero to have Taco's back the entire time. And that leaves Mousesports in a bit of a pickle. Ooh. Great pop flash there. And even though Sunny manages to find Fur on the opposite side of the map, it's not going to do a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. Does pick up the op on, I guess, the dead body of Oscar, but not exactly renowned as an opper.
I mean, he's been there. He's tried it back in Ents, but he said he didn't really like AWPing. So interesting to see if they can get anything done with this. Bolts is going to still be aggressive on ramp after that pick, and he chases down Stiko, but with the bomb, he stays alive, and that's important because 30 seconds left. If Stiko goes down there, the round's over, but now there's certainly an opportunity. Bit of utility left on Mousesports. If they can get the CT smoked off and negate Fallen's AWP, maybe Mousesports can get into this bomb site. Smoke for the plant. Sunny looking for the pick, but Fallen plays reserved. He's waiting for some form of information, some form of sound, or his teammate to rotate in. Here's the plant. Looks for the shot, but he won't get it. Now Stiko can move into the post plant. The big question mark here is Taco. He's coming in from the back line. And SK, they're playing so reserved. They're not giving a pick away to Mousesports. Mousesports have to expect the back line at this point. Sunny spots the cross from Cold-Zero, but does Stiko expect the flank? It's actually going all the way round to Palace. That's why SK are playing so slowly. Sunny damage to Fallen, but he's still being flanked. And oh my god, the Deeg flicks back to the head of Taco. And now we have a 2v2. SK have wasted all this time waiting for the flank, and it's found nothing.
Fallen is on the defuse. Oh, it's going to get picked off by Stiko as well. Cold not having his back at all. And they're just going to have to give up on this round. Wow. So yeah, of 2v4, somehow goes the way of Mousesports. And that's off of, well, some pretty basic mistakes from SK. Obviously, Taco should be able to win that duel out with Sunny once he comes in from behind and Apps there. But even before that, they're up to 4v2. Yeah, there's a flash for, Bolts gets the initial pick with the pop flash in towards Pits. That's more than fine enough. At that point, you could fall back, play the site, just stick together with Fallen, so he has an opportunity to trade for you if you go down. Instead, Bolts just kind of, by his own means, goes aggressive, gives away a kill to Stiko, and that allows for Mousesports to get on the site.
Great start.
Great start from Mousesports. Shaky from the Brazilians, though.
Well, how much further will this go? We have pistols in play. Obviously, the saved M4 on Cold.
Scout bought up on Fallen as well. Still leaves him in a position where he will be able to buy up in the next round, so not going to be the end of the world. You can see Mousesports once more. Just setting up for basic mid control here.
Yeah, and in this kind of round, you're expecting to see maybe some aggression from SK, a pick trying to be forced. A 5-on-4 can be obviously favourable, but nothing's really coming out. We've just got fairly standard setups. They give up mid, but they have the crossfire between Fallen and Fur with the Deagle and Scout combo.
And then if Mousesports are too slow to actually move up here and aren't necessarily using their utility to the full potential, then there's a lot of opportunities for Fallen to get just tag damage. He doesn't necessarily have to get the kill, because obviously it does 70 plus damage, which leaves them extremely vulnerable to these pistols on the side of SK.
Smoke down, Fallen misses a shot. That's awkward. Has to run back as Mousesports charge up short. But Sunny, the one player who's tagged earlier, going to get finished off. One picked the way of SK, but traded by Mousesports. Deagle on the site from Taco will connect. Stiko dead, and Oscar, he's got to stay alive because now Chris J's coming in from the back lines to clear up the B site. Fur finished off by Rops with a double entry, and Cold-Zero, an off angle with the M4, the saved weapon, and he finds 2 kills. Back into a 1v1. And Oscar sitting on 2 kills. 15 seconds left for this bomb plant. Cold-Zero, wait for the noise. And Oscar, he's going to need to commit to it here. He can't afford to fake too many times because he's just running out of time. Jumps on the bomb, sticks it. Cold-Zero holds the cross in case he runs towards short, but he falls back more passive. If Cold-Zero finds this, This would be a ridiculous round for SK to win, considering what they had in the round. coldzera just trying to find the timing. Oscar moves towards bench, and now, while he knows he's at least somewhere on the site, he has no information as to where Oscar's posted up. Close with the deagle, waiting for the angle, but coldzera finds it. And SK, what a round to pick up.
Yeah, what a round indeed, and it's off of the back of obviously Fallen being able to tag Sunny twice, and then Taco somehow winning out the duel when he's kind of stuck on site between Molotovs, and a whole lot of Mousesports players finding that one frag just makes all the difference. Allows for coldzera to get into spot in kitchen, find 2 frags for himself initially, and obviously the 1v1. coldzera, excellent player at closing out rounds, and actually kind of surprised by the fact that Oscar didn't actually opt to go for his op, normally known as a player who doesn't necessarily shy away from close combat opping. So I kind of have to imagine that it's down to the fact that he didn't want to give any sound cues away to coldzera with scoping in on that op.
Yeah, you give coldzera just 1 millisecond to react, you're probably
Exactly.
going to die.
It doesn't work out though. This time, Oscar already scoped in, so doesn't have to worry about any sound noise or sound cues. Still smoking away, and very close range for right behind that smoke. Meanwhile, though, in mid, seeing Mousesports again being given control. SK seeming perfectly fine and content with just giving up all this mid control. And up to this point, we haven't necessarily seen Mousesports being able to make the most out of it either. That's probably why they continue with this approach. First, going to get even more aggressive here.
I like that combo as well. Deep Molotov and then the flash to pop him in. So if anyone's caught, not only are they blinded, but they can't run back. But Oscar, he runs forward to the face of Fur and he'll get the entry. So Mousesports now sitting with a man advantage. We're going to see SK rotate coldzera back towards this A site potentially, although he's slow. And still with his mid-control intact, so we're going to have to see SK worry about that connector. You can see Fallen desperately checking it, make sure Mousesports aren't going for that split, but that will be later in the round. They're focusing on just getting out of ramp, but can they get any further? Fallen with the first shot with the AWP. Chris J dead, and Mousesports, 30 seconds left, no smokes for this bomb site, and they haven't even gotten out of ramp. This is a massive blunder. They need to make their move quickly, and now they're going to call on Sunny to try and find an entry. As he walks up through the connector, Fallen going to again take down Rob. Sunny catches, bolts out of position on the site. And again, Mousesports, time low, need to get this bomb down. coldzera can just wait for that plant.
Yeah, this is really awkward for Mousesports.
That's a round.
Yep. The lack of smokes just makes it impossible for them to get in, and it's a situation they have. They have to realize themselves that because of the lack of utility, you have to move with pace. Otherwise, it's going to be way too easy for SK to just pick them off. You're just going to have to clear out the entire side by firepower. With them pretty much getting stuck by Tetris, the only one really trying to move forward was Chris J, and he gets caught out with no option for a trade on the Mousesports end because they were too far down in pit. Leaves SK with a pretty easy round, and that's gonna put a pretty significant dent into the economy of Mousesports as well. You can see ZZ's coming out. Still another op on Oscar, obviously, with them holding on to that from the previous round. But this is a very important round for Mousesports. Don't want to get on the back foot now after that solid start.
Yeah, because not only have SK found 2 in a row, building up a bit of money, but now if they find a third with Mousesports forcing things up, they're surely going to get the Antico next round as well. But Taco already picking up 1 kill towards the apps up on B. Oscar's dead, so the AWP dropped. coldzera follows up from the bench, but Chris J's darted on the site. coldzera is well caught, and Sunny does take him down from the apartment, and now Mousesports have the site. The only issue is the bomb, and Fallen posted on the angle. Uncharacteristic miss, and the bomb not picked back up, sorry. The player up on bench actually bypassed it. Sunny needs to go back and grab it. As Fallen gets a second opportunity, the smoke's down, which covers his angle, and Rops just holds close. CZ is the perfect range for him to try and grab a kill, but Fallen's got support. Even if he finds his frag, surely bolts trades, but no! Fallen hits a shot, and now Sunny in a 1v2. SK fall back with that pick. They don't know if he's gone back towards the A site himself, and now Sunny faking the bomb. Trying to force out an SK player. Bolts is still holding. Fallen's wrapping in the meantime. He's going to go back up through short. And Bolts just missed the angle onto Sunny. So Fallen has no information.
No, I think he actually spotted the arm of Sunny. And that's why he's moving out onto the bomb site now. You can see Fallen's just taking a complete standstill here. Easy kill. So fortune favors SK in that round. Just a couple of inches of Sunny's arm being visible to Bolts there. That's well played as well. He's showing a lot of restraint. And SK have done that so far in a lot of these situations, in retakes or in scenarios where they've lost control over the bomb site. If Bolts gets too aggressive in that scenario, he pretty much makes it impossible for Fallen to win that round with being on solo HP. But again, that initial setup from Taco and Cold Zero over towards the B bomb side working really nicely, finding 3 picks off of that. Obviously, Taco off the pop flash from Cold Zero, and then Cold picking up 2 from the bench.
More pistols out for Mousesports now, and an A-side attack seems to be the case. No smokes for this. Only flashbangs, and SK are well prepared. Look at the push up towards top mid. Fur's already got all the info. SK know what's about to happen. Fallen, Molotov in, players bursting out of Palace, but Bolts is going to spray them down. Almost 3 kills until Sunny responds, but this round is still going to fall apart here for Mousesports. They only have pistols. And SK, 4 rounds on the board.
First, the saddest person on the server that round. Runs up mid, doesn't find anyone, tries to run around from T-spawn, doesn't find anyone before the entire Mousesports team is dead. Great job from the SK side, not losing any weapons or anything like that, making sure their economy gets a chance to get a little boost, which is going to be very, very handy going further into the game. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully Mousesports now will have smokes and whatnot for their eventual bomb take. Now just talking things over. And I don't think Mousesports have done anything necessarily wrong outside of that one round where they just kind of get staggered by Tetris, not really able to move up towards the A bomb site due to the lack of smokes. Outside of that, they've had a pretty okay approach as to how they want to go about things. Obviously, SK aren't the easiest team in the world to go up against. Right. So they've done well for themselves. But we also have to consider the fact that there's been quite a few close rounds that SK have picked up as well. First one being the solo defuse, and then having a round with 2 players surviving in Bolts and Fallen's clutch.
Well, we're into another with the double or back in play. Fallen on mid, drops Oscar. Stiko's the first out, but it doesn't matter. Fallen takes 2. With the support Cold Zero as well, Stiko's going to go down. So Mousesports just seconds in have already been put down to a 2v5. And while they've won a 2v4, I think this is a little much to ask.
Yeah, this seems a little bit rough. Fallen just getting the perfect timing pretty much, kind of. I'm not sure if it's a conscious choice to ignore the first guy jumping by, or if he just got caught, sleeping at the wheel. But it works out perfectly because it was set up for a bait for Oscar to peek out into mid. With the quick return as well, allows for Fallen to reap. He can find that second frag. So even though Rops finds Bolts playing aggressively towards Pit, massive advantage here for SK. And Chris J thinking about peering into mid here, but Fallen's already got his eyes locked in. Well, does actually step away for a second here. He does have support from window.
Oh, does he though? A bit late. The peek from Cold Zero, and he gets traded out. So Rop's now in a 1v3. Bomb down, but for his position and with time left as well, it's all about damage now for Rops. How much can he really do? He's got the AWP to play with, obviously low HP, so got to watch out. Needs to hit that first shot. Taco holding the cross towards short. Fur there for support as well if he does go towards a connector. And Rops just trying to find the angle. Taco's moved out of position and Fur can't quite see him. Rops, he may get a chance to go towards B. Does Fallen know? He has no idea. Moving back in. Rops gets the kill. And now 18 seconds left. Bomb can go down. Still good utility. Ace going to be needed for Rops. Fur tries to play quickly into the site, but Rops has to move out position. Molotov forces him into the open. Taco scoped up with the AWP, giving away his position as well. So an opportunity now for Rops as they start to move together. Fur going to catch him. And SK, okay, they take it, but still, again, a 2v5 brought down to a 1v2.
Yeah, Mousesports are doing a great job of actually keeping SK honest here. Again, Bolt's kind of giving the initial chance with the aggressive play towards Pit there, even when they're up 3 players. And then Rob's having a little bit of luck on his end, being able to actually walk up the entirety of Catwalk, just seeing Taco straight away the second he moves up. Obviously, that could have spelled a really quick end to the round, and obviously no bomb plan either. But Rob's able to get it done. So that puts quite a bit more cash in the bank of Mousesports. No off for Oscar this time around, though, but enough utility to work with here. 5 smokes, 3 Molotovs. Oh, let's see though. It's 5 rounds in a row for SK here. Double ops out. So a pretty tough defense to crack through right now, and a bit of a stack here actually as well.
Fallen, a big miss as well. Can't follow up with the no-scope. He'll go down to Chris J. Cold Zero also dead. Double entry for the man himself. Stiko's going to follow up as well. Mousesports have cracked open this A site instantly. Much as how SK shut down the mid control, Mousesports have sped up the pace, and now they're going to continue to look for these kills. They don't want SK to save anything into this round. Bomb down. Stiko's already looking towards a connector. His teammates flanking into B. Sunny's in that site. Bots will catch Oscar, and that's actually the AWP dropped as well that was picked up off the body of Fallen. So SK giving away some idea to where their position means Sunny can easily sneak his way up through short. So Stiko's just baiting here. He doesn't need to take this fight. He knows his teammates coming from behind. No reason to face against an AWP. And there's the free kill from Sunny. So seeming like no one will be saving apart from Bolts. He gets away with this one. There's the first second as well. Yeah, Bolts moves away. He'll hold on to the M4, but small consolation from SK. Mousesports get back on the board, and there we go. Bolt's even dead as well. That's a bit of an issue with the money.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Luckily for them, they did have that one round where they were able to kind of save up a little bit in the past in that eco round, surviving with all 5, and that's what's going to allow them to actually purchase into this one. But yeah, the change of pace from Mousesports definitely catching SK off guard. Fallen missing, a shot he normally would sink, and even with a 4-man stack pretty much towards that A bomb site from SK, they're just not able to find a return frag at any given point.
Now Mousesports back to basics again. It seems like the A site is exactly where they want to hit. Even with no AWP and no weapon on Stiko either, he's limited to the pistol.
Yeah.
It's going to be Bolts up close this time, not Fallen. Some missed shots so far from Fallen, but we are early days. Smoke's over from Mousesports, Fur as well, UMP. So limited weapons, but they're playing at least at the range that they should be good at. Bolt's going to get spammed, and he's got to run away as well. 20 HP. They'll definitely know they hit him there. Stiko can't quite catch the angle. And Mousesports, with that as well, they're going to wrap the players back through T-spawn, give up their control towards A. SK have quad rotated towards the site as well, so if Mousesports with a dart into B, they get it for free.
Well, you say that, but Taco's pushed up aggressively here into apartments. So anyone who would go through these B-ups is going to be in for a bit of a nasty surprise. He does only have an MP9, so it should be possible for Mousesports to find a trade, but Taco could do significant damage here if he finds the right timing, especially if Chris J decides to walk further ahead. And he does.
Awkward. Taco. Maybe more? Stiko? Oh, he does trade. That's Sunny as well. Rops is still in the palace though, so he can catch his rotations. There we go. First dead. Fallen's rotated through the market, so 3-on-3 and Fallen. Aggressive as we know and love. Second kill from him. Looking for the third as he's getting wrapped from Stiko, but he's actually got his back turned. Doesn't realise he's out on the site, and Stiko finds that kill. So now the two Ts split up and both low HP with low time as well. Cold Zero can confidently take this fight knowing Rops is up in the palace, and he does. That's the bomb dropped, and that should be the round over. I don't see a way back in for Rops. He's going to give it his best chance, but I think the time's too low. Even if he gets his kill on Cold, he's not going to get the time.
Yeah, never going to have the time to play. And Cold Zero is just going to make the take the option for him. It's going to be quick death. Very well dealt with from SK's side there. Taco obviously creating a bit of havoc in AFs there. A little bit surprising to see Christian kind of straying that far off from the rest of the herd.
Yeah,
that allows for an easy pick with no immediate trade. Puts SK back on the board and obviously resets the economy of Mousesports, so they're going to have to be on an eco round. Luckily though, they have enough money in the bank to be able to get an AWP at least next round for Mousesports.
They do have 5 rounds on this T side. How many would you say is enough for Mousesports really in this kind of matchup? Because obviously it's a map they're confident on that CT side, but it is against SK of all teams.
Yeah, and that's the big worry, right? Normally you would say maybe 7 rounds should be more than enough to work with. But everything becomes, a bit of a question mark when you go up against a team like SK, because they can pretty much fight back from any sort of deficit, and we see it time and time again. It could have been a 13-1/2, and I still would have, had my hopes up for SK that they could fight back. They're just that good of a team. Well, so it's tough to say, but obviously if Mousesports can get to 7, they should be okay with how this round turned out, because SK were starting quite a bit of a run there with those 5 straight rounds.
Just one thing to take into account as well is Mousesports, yes, they have 5, but 3 of them are off the back of the pistol and the anti-eco. Yep. So in terms of rifle rounds, yeah, they've got 2, but SK have 6. So
keep in mind, one of those spy rounds was also the 2v4.
Yeah, so a round that shouldn't have gone their way anyway. SK took a massive advantage early on, but this round, it's pistols as we know, as Mousesports try and hit into middle. That's a bit of a dangerous option to go with just P250s and Glocks, and SK will show them why. Kills coming out from all sides of the board, but mainly the CT. Cold Zero, another shot, now with just Rops left. This round should be over. Okay, Rops, don't kill Cold. That would be
there.
Awkward.
We go.
No.
Got a lot of time on that. In any case, first having a bit of a nightmare right now. Sitting at 2-10, definitely not finding his groove. Pretty much the 2 frags we saw was during the second buy round of Mousesports, actually. Well, one of them at least, where Fallen got the double kill with the open mid. Definitely not having the best of games. And one of the problems we've seen SK have is towards the A bomb side, honestly. Whenever they've tried to go aggressive towards pit, the best results they've come out with is a 1-for-1 trade. And obviously it's like they are in positions where they could get that initial frag and then back off from the sites, but they continue to stay aggressive, and that's been punishing them time and time again. But once again, Fur goes down, and well, just in a matter of a second, that's the B bomb site loss as Stico finds Taco.
Well, you talk about aggression, catching SK off guard and them losing out. Fur just pushed underpass and got caught by Sunny. So Mousesports get given a free pick. With that, they go, okay, that's the B player. Let's charge into B. Second entry comes in. Taco has no one to support him because we look at SK on this B site and we think, okay, Taco and Cole just locking it down, having each other's backs. But no, not this round, and SK have to save. So a bit of a blunder from the CT side, it seems. Mousesports with a 6th on the board.
Yeah, definitely not optimal whatsoever. First, struggles continue. But I think the most important thing, like, obviously, with the kind of player that Fur is, he can't necessarily start changing up his normal play style, even though it's going rough now, even though Mousesports seems to have the upper hand on him. He still needs to continue to make moves like this, because if he starts playing passively, he's not the same threat to the Mousesports team. Just the fact that you know that Fur can come aggressive from pretty much every single angle on the map is something that you always need to keep in the back of your head. And the second you slip up, that's when he's going to pounce on you. But Mousesports not letting up for right now. Well, they're inching closer, at least to that 7th round. Still have an opportunity to actually win out the half. Just definitely not a bad trade, especially given SK's economy here. This is going to be kind of a last standby for them. If they lose this round, we're looking at a pretty ugly bye going into the final round.
And maybe Mousesports, on the cards to get 7 or 8 here in the half. So exactly what they kind of needed. It seems Oscar mollied up in the apps. He can't take down Taco early on this time unless he jumps into this AWP shot. Still posted.
And once again, they're leaving Taco completely open here towards this B bomb site. Nobody even remotely close to actually being able to rotate in here. So if Taco dies, this could be a very quick round.
And they got a short as well. Fur's not going to shut them down from the connector, so Mousesports, they just charge on up. Stico gets the entry, the solo B player dead. And this is around where you're SK and you go, we really can't save, can we? We've got to fight this, because, yeah, of course, it will mean they can buy up next round, but Mousesports is given another free one. Off of one frag, SK are going to save without even contesting, trying to get a pick and see how it goes, because, you're in a situation where you can take a 1v1 here if you're SK. You lose one member, and you save, that's fine. You keep 3 alive, you can buy up next round. But if you, save now, you're removing any option of someone going in and getting 2 Mousesports players off guard potentially, and getting yourself back into the round. So a bold move from SK to make, but it is going to come at a price.
Yeah, it definitely comes at a price, but I think it's the fact that they're so far removed from the B bomb site there. So Mousesports have all the opportunity in the world to get into afterplan positions and basically have every upper hand as SK needs to try to retake. And obviously they have to expend a ton of utility as well to just get into the point where they can start figuring out where Mousesports are playing from. Falling there at the end, obviously not optimal as well, so that removes any hope of an AWP going into the last rounds.
Definitely not good for SK.
Definitely not, but it is a bit of a gamble peak, and you can understand it given the tendencies that's gone through the T side of Mousesports right now. Pretty much the one place they found immediate success is towards that A bomb site. Maybe a little bit brazen to go with 4 players towards that bomb site that hard, especially when you give up mid control. But giving up mid control, not going to be the case this time around. 2 players from SK already up mid to clear things out. But the remainder of the Mousesports team, outside of Oscar, who's lurking here towards B, is lurking towards A.
Classic Oscar move though. He even gets a tag to Cold Zero, 3 HP before Fur kills him, but now it's the A play. Quick out with no smokes and contact from Mousesports, dangerous, and you can see why. Already 2 players left up here for this T side. They need to pull it back. Smoke towards CT, covers them from Fallen, but not from the spray. Sunny down to 60 HP, and Mousesports, they need to get the plant, but Taco wants to challenge Sunny. Bad timing, looks away, and Taco gets back into the round with 2 kills. So SK, they'll take the half in their favour, 8-7, but hey, not a bad half from Mousesports to say the very least.
Definitely not. Obviously, they started off winning the pistol, getting those 3, I wouldn't say automatic rounds, but definitely got off to the optimal start there. But yeah, being able to kind of stop SK in their tracks once they got on that 5-round run, definitely much important, because we talk about how good SK are at playing from behind and how they're never really out of the game, but they're also excellent at closing out people and kind of just putting their foot on people's throat once they get the opportunity to do so. So for Mousesports to fight back there and put a shake into SK's economy, it's very well done. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of CT side we're going to see from Mousesports. I talked about it, as we were starting the game. Really big fan of watching Mousesports play the CT side on Mirage due to their constant aggression. Obviously, you'd like to change things up. So Mousesports actually are one of the teams that lean more towards aggression than the passive play style in this map. A lot of teams find that extremely hard to deal with, especially if they're pretty heavy on doing defaults in their buy rounds.
Well, SK into their pistol they go. Lots of utility and all of it expended at the start to get them out onto this A site. Mousesports play passive for the retake, but Oscar's already started off. Kill with the unsilenced USP's taking that off. Dead on Bolt's going to look for more, but SK, they get aggressive. Mousesports set up perfectly for a 5-on-4 retake, but now with 2 picks going the way of this Brazilian side, they're into this round. Mousesports obviously got to give it their best shot, but this is not going to be an easy one with coldzera flanking. Damage to Chris J, but no, a pick given away. And now Mousesports have an opportunity to win this one. Taco's dinked down to 4 HP, and if Rops climbs up here, he might be able to spot him on top of the stairs. Tagged and dead. Rops looking for a little bit more, trying to cover Stiko, who can get on that bomb with the kit. They need to move fast though, because SK still have players in the site. One towards jungle, Fallen and Furbo far away, but Stiko stuck the bomb. In all of the madness, he'll get out with the round. And mistakes made from SK.
Mistakes made indeed. Obviously the initial plan is, or the plan of the entire time is actually to playing off of coldzera, who buys up a P250 there. And you see with the utility they put down, the entire goal is to get as many people towards jungle, clear out that area as they plan for catwalk, and basically play off the after plant. And that's the kind of situation you can play at a man deficit as well. And I think that's going through the head of SK as well as they do it. But coldzera kind of thinking he could get the drop on Chris J as Chris J gets spotted dropping down from catwalk is what really gets him in, because he's not able to win the duel. Ooh. And all of the pressure on SK side just immediately disappears and allows for the remaining Mousesports members to focus on the bomb site.
I do like this buy though from SK. They put together 2 rifles with obviously the bomb plant money from the previous, but unfortunately enough they lose Fallen and one unarmored player straight away. Sunny catches him in the B push, the underpass.
It's cool to seeing these kind of buys make more of a resurgence into CSGO. Obviously something we saw more of in both Source and 1.6 in the past. Seeing especially teams like Navi keen on doing this, especially it doesn't hurt when you have a player of Simple's caliber to kind of just go around doming people's heads. Speaking of doming, coldzera finds the first frag on SK's side for that round, but not before 2 players have gone down on the SK side. It remains to be seen what Taco and coldzera can do here.
Well, the one good thing is they have smoke, so they can go for a standard execute towards A with these 3 players. But if Mousesports plays passive as we saw them on the pistol, potentially this bomb can go down. The issue is Rops can challenge. He's towards towards a site, triple box. So these smokes will start to go over. Molly under Balk. Rops a bit of an off angle here. He moves himself into the ninja position. This could be so good. If he can just get 1 kill here, this would really put a hole in SK's attack. Sunny's not even smoked off as well. That goes towards the connector. So there's Rops' first frag. Knowing Taco's going to come out, he waits for the flash and it's perfect. 2 kills from Rops. Trade, but it doesn't even matter because Mousesports are still in control. 9 rounds here on the CT side. SK's force goes nowhere.
Yeah, solidly played from the side of Mousesports. SK kind of running into the same issue that we saw Mousesports do in one of their heads towards A. They just kind of get staggered, stuck in both A halls and towards pit there. Taco in a position where even though he has utility, he's not really at an angle to smoke off spawn because he's in apps. And with 1 smoke already down towards connector / jungle, it doesn't really make sense for him to re-smoke that. But it does make it so much harder for SK to get out on the bomb site, especially when they kind of announce their presence there with the Molly under balcony and also Taco spamming through.
Well, just pistols this time for SK, so they'll set up towards B. No flashbang though. Stiko is going to be able to mow down these Glock players. Only coldzera on a P250 as well, so really not a lot of damage on the side of SK.
SK just going to go on contact here.
Stiko's alone as well. He's got no teammates, so he needs a couple of kills. That will do it. Chris J's also found 1 as he rotates in from short. But a bomb plant from SK, certainly not the worst out of this round. They get a limited investment, but they still get a fairly good reward considering that. coldzera now just looking to do damage, but Oscar's got his number. Mousesports finally reached double digits, but SK will have a pretty good buy moving forward.
Yeah, that is very true. That bomb plant doing wonders for them. And considering Mousesports setup, that was a pretty tough task to avoid. Stiko does as good of a job as you could have hoped for, finding 2 frags, also doing a ton of damage on the 1 player that Chris J finds. But SK going to be happy with that. They do get the op on Fallen. It does actually get Kevlar and Smoke as well. So now the real test begins for Mousesports' side, and they haven't necessarily fully bought up into this as well. You can see Rob sitting on an UMP still. Oscar not opting to go for the op. He has a FAMAS in hand. So big opportunities here for SK to get right back into the swing of things.
Definitely so, but Rops is already hungry for a kill, pushed down towards ramp. SK playing contact out of the palace. This is a ballsy play to go for on their rifle round, but it could catch Mousesports off guard. Rops still on the ramp. They haven't cleared him just yet. The smoke's still down for trying to spray desperately, but Rops gets 2 kills. Now he can grab the AK as well, so even better equipped and stuck behind SK means that they have got to watch their backline as well. Mousesports players flooding in from all positions here. SK in a really tough spot. Cold Zero needs to come in through the connector if he wants to get anything done, but Fallen's just trying to get rid of Rops. It's not that easy. 3 kills for him. As he looks for another one, it's swung back into SK's favour, a 2v2. Cold Zero's flank does result in a frag, and Taco picks up 2 on the bomb site as well. Now Chris J is the one watching his backline, because Cold Zero just still sits passively in middle. Chris J drops a bomb on the site, but with plenty of time, now we have Cold Zero in a clutch. And who else would you want on SK's side? Chris J sitting here on the bomb site, trying to force the kill. Damage done. Oh, he's going for even more. That's a ballsy peek from Chris. And Cold Zero is going to win the Angel. So SK, they pull it back from a huge deficit.
That is pretty incredible. I guess you kind of get what you deserve. Mousesports bringing 1 round back on their T side in a pretty hopeless situation now. SK giving them a taste of their own medicine. Definitely, obviously, around that, Mousesports should be able to win. But yeah, extremely well done from Cold Zero and Taco there. You can see that Fallen was just kind of trying to delay for time as much as possible to allow for Cold Zero to get into position without necessarily having to run through underpass, giving up his position and so on. So even though he just rattles off a couple of shots into nowhere and then eventually gets taken down by Rops, it's still a solid play because he spent so much time just keeping Mousesports players at bay behind smokes or behind cover that it actually gives them a fighting chance. Very well done there.
This game close as ever, 10-9 as we expected this to be.
Yeah.
But Mousesports, what can they put into this round? It's going to be a couple of AWPs. We've got Chris J on that now for the first time this map. Stico is limited in terms of an MP9, but everyone else is okay. Bit of utility lack, but other than that, Mousesports don't have too bad of a buy considering the situation.
Yeah. It's not like SK's buy is going to be perfect either. You see Scout coming out on the side of Fallen. Bolts just rocking a Galil. No utility whatsoever. So definite opportunities here. Sadly for Sticko with the MP9, everyone on SK has head armor outside of Fallen. Still, he does play a position that does allow you to get pretty close angles, so should still be a viable weapon in this kind of scenario. And SK just sitting up very passively here, waiting for the renowned Mousesports aggression, which we haven't really seen too much of up to this point. But SK definitely aware. Well, Fur and Taco sneaking their way up towards underpass, making their steps closer to Sunny, who's kind of jumped up into ladder room from mid. Very little utility used actually on the side of SK considering what they started with here. Just going very dry into mid. Being given that control for free.
Mousesports are going to give it to them, expecting maybe some kind of fight in window. Sunny's posted. Oscar's also there on a crossfire. That's a missmoked, and that's important because now they have none left. So instead of smoking window, they'll boost into it, but Sunny is ready and waiting. Kill to Fur. Knows Taco's there as well due to the boost, but he's not going to go for the fight. Taco instead moves towards the connector. Mousesports double CT control as well. Sunny, a second frag as he drops back into the window room, only to return to ladder. And Stico mows down the bomb in apartments. Mousesports have just shut down SK. Not 1 point of damage done by this T side in that round. Mousesports, perfect.
Yeah, perfect is definitely the accurate description there. And that one smoke that misses in window just sets off the avalanche, really. That is the demise of SK. Allows for Sunny to pick up the first frag onto Fur with no contest whatsoever. Obviously allows him to spot Taco as he rotates away as well, which gives him the perfect drop on him. As Taco tries to find any sort of connections in connector.
Now back to B for SK with all 5 players.
And a bit of a weird buy here.
Yeah.
AK coming out on Fur.
No armor though.
Yeah, exactly.
Does he realise? Let's find out. He's not going to drop it over to anyone else. They'll actually just try and execute. Well, execute. That's coming from Stico. 2 kills on the Galil picked up from the body of SK last round. And yeah, this buy has gone nowhere for SK again. Mousesports keep 5 alive. 4 kills from Stico. He finally upgrades. He's moved from an MP9 to a Galil and then a Galil to AK. So kind of SK to gift that to him.
And, you know, patience is a virtue, and Stiko just holding on to that MP9, being faithful, is rewarded in the end with a 4K and a free AK. For SK, I'm not really sure what went into that buy, why they opted to do so, especially because you had 3 players on their side buying up with Head Kevlar and CZs, and Fur just rocking a bare AK. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, especially if you're not going to just... You could have easily dropped that AK off to one of the guys with armor, let him go first, see if you can find that opening frag, and maybe you can do something off of that. It's completely depleted the reserves of SK as well, so even if they are to, you know, get something out of this round, even with the bomb plan, it's going to be, you know, leaving them with a not optimal buy by any means.
Yeah, and this round is not one where we expect too much from the Ts. Obviously, it's just P250s and Glocks again, and Mousesports have had no issue with these anti-ecos so far this map.
Remains to be the case as well.
Only 1 kill from SK, but here's the buy. Here's where things get interesting now, because say Mousesports get this round, and I mean, they're going to be on 14. SK will be forcing up on near max loss bonus, four rounds loss bonus, so 2,900. They need a bomb plant at the very least, SK. And even then, it's suboptimal, right? They'll have 3,800 going into the next round, and, you know, it's not enough.
Yeah, and then just around here we see that, you know, the buy isn't that great. Sure, they have 3 smokes to work with, but only 1 Molotov to really clear out any angles. And obviously they're going to have to use quite a few of these smokes in their actual execute towards a bomb site, or just to get mid-control if that's what they want to do. Luckily, though, for them, Fallen is able to find Oscar going aggressively in B-apps, so maybe, well, with that second frag onto Sunny as well, that's clear out the entire bomb site. But seeing how they haven't found Stiko, who's been the, you know, resident camper pretty much on that B-bomb site, they're not going to decide to go for it. Probably expecting him to be hidden in a corner. And, well, Mousesports in a situation now where they've just stacked up on the A-bomb site, probably just expecting to save at this point. And if SK just happens to run into them, then that could be... all they need. Bomb is actually dropped as well in a really awkward position here. This gives Stiko potential to actually find an easy frag here.
The issue is, Mousesports don't actually know. So yeah, they hold this ramp, but they have no idea where the bomb is. SK's still going to commit towards A, assuming Mousesports have rotated players to B. This is a big gamble here for Mousesports, but it's about to pay off. A triple wrap through the connector. Taco trying to find Rops. A wallbang comes in, but he's traded by Stiko, and that's the bomb dropped.
Yes.
Now Chris J can come in for support. Well, SK have the time to at least contest with this bomb. They're going to have to move quickly. 30 seconds left on the clock. Cold Zero finds Chris J up in the Palace, and now they're going to split from both ramp and Palace to try and get this bomb back in their hands. Stiko's got to go big. Second kill from him as he finds the headshot to Cold Zero, and a Molotov still to delay. If he throws this and runs away, he could easily win this round. SK might not have the time for this. I think he's realised that. He's stopped them from picking it back up. He's run back to try and contest on the bomb site. He'll get there before them. Fallen has to get this entry. They don't even need to worry about the bomb plant. They need the kill, because Stiko's playing the site. 9 seconds left. They don't know he's here. Fallen drops a bomb. Stiko, yes, he does it! 4 frags! And Mousesports will pick it up in a 3v5. Fallen's heroics will only go so far.
That is one very lucky on Mousesports' end, but also extremely well done. Stiko just having pretty much perfect movement and decision making in that kind of a scenario. You mentioned it as well. If he puts down that Molotov on the bomb, he knows that there's only one option for SK. You know, in order to get back to the site, they have to dive for that bomb. That's going to give him time to actually rotate back off of the site. And he solves that brilliantly. I'm actually really surprised, considering how much time was left on the bomb on the timer there, that Fallen actually pulls out the bomb and hope of a bomb plant.
I think they just expect him to be in Palace and to be playing a late round thing, so he hits the bomb plant, he goes for the fight, but no. Stiko with a good read, and now SK with an A-side attack, but 2 entries with it. Limited buy, but they get a lot out of it. Rock's going to look for a kill, but he gives away his position with a falling sound. Fur trying to get aggressive, and I mean, they only have pistols here, but these are so good at this kind of position. Fur can easily take down Rops if he doesn't stay aware. Reposition on the corner of Ticket, and SK hold on to the 2-man advantage, but hey, Vendetta, we've seen this before from Mousesports. We've seen a 3v5 just seconds ago. However, they'll need to speed things up, because SK are not giving them any options. Fur, another kill with that CZ75, removes the head of Stiko. Rops is going to get overrun. Fur's on 3 kills of the CZ right now. Oscar's got a save, and SK find 10 rounds off the back of a force.
Yeah, so pretty much nearly a majority of the kills for Fur that entire game just coming in one fell swoop. Really impressive from SK, but you also have to question what the hell was Mousesports doing there with the 2 players in CT spawn. So afraid of actually just doing anything about Fur. I can't remember who it was, but one of the Mousesports members actually just opting to go for jump peaks as well.
Yeah, it's a bit optimistic, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it definitely is.
And in that kind of position as well, Fur's always going to hit that shot, even if you're jumping right. He still has full accuracy. He's the one on the ground.
Exactly. You just give pretty much, first if you're giving away a ton of information as to where you are, and also you're giving him multiple opportunities to just get a ton of damage in. And he's going to take that every single day. He's not had a great game, but still a great player. And Sunny wants to do him in, gets his revenge that round. So, man advantage going in the favor of Mousesports.
Oh, and Cold Zero's dropped Chris J. Does he realise that Sunny's still here, though? Oscar's realised they're up on A, and he's going to try and back off. Sunny does drop that mid player, so Cold Zero dead, and Oscar a 1-for-1 trade. Fake plant on the site, and it baits out Rops to peak, so Taco takes the head off. Now SK in a 2v2. They've done a great job of getting themselves into this situation, considering the fight in middle not going their way. But that leaves Stiko and Sunny to rotate back into the site. Stiko flashed off and SK getting into the optimal post plants. They've got a crossfire. They need this kill as well. Fallen doesn't even opt to fight it. Flash to follow. He's going to go for the peak, but Sunny's naded him. And now it's a 1v2. Taco's got to force his first kill because he knows a player's coming from behind. Does take Stiko down. And now Sunny with no kit, running out of time, has to make this happen. And he does. Kit on the site as well, but he doesn't even need it. Mousesports find map point.
Find map point. Also find the reset button on SK's economy. Yeah, SK do get a bomb plant in. Yeah, they did manage to win that pistol buy. So they will have money here, actually. But as you can see, Taco being the one in for a bit of a rough buy.
And the crazy thing is as well, if you look at the scoreboard for Mousesports, the two players who, not to say they can't step up, but don't always sit at the top of the board, are doing amazingly. Sunny at 25 kills, Stiko at 20 kills, playing a more supportive role. You know, we're usually looking to Oscar, who's got 14 frags right now, and Rops, who is of course on 21 as always, to step up. But no, this AWP battle hasn't been working for Oscar, but it doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah. Sunny is actually incredibly consistent on this map. So, gonna get a piece of the caster's curse there as he goes down to Fallen and Earth Fast, but it seems like Sunny and just having solid performances on Mirage is pretty much a given at this point. Ooh, that's a quick kill from Fallen.
How does he hit that? He's 9 HP and Chris J can't find the shot. That's insane. Bolt's going to get caught coming out of the ramp, but Taco times it well again on the trade. SK back into the man advantage, but that will only go so far because Oscar's peeked up on the top of stairs, aggressive as ever. May only be on 14 kills, but he's still going to be confident. 2 players left for either side now. Smoke out for Stiko as he can't contest this connector. And SK very scared of where Mousesports could be now. Cold Zero just holding on with the bomb, waiting. Fallen making sure they're not going for the long flank up through T-spawn. And I mean, the pressure really is on Cold here. Fallen's still low, despite that shot earlier. You know, next fight should be Mousesports if they fight Fallen, but they won't. Cold Zero gets the kill, and now Fallen can come and join him. They can expect Stiko having rotated off of B. And with the bomb being planted now and Fallen having the cross, Cold Zero doesn't need to fight here. Stiko's got to move and worry about the ramp firstly. This should be SK's round. It will require a lot from Stiko, and yeah, Cold Zero is just going to take the peak. SK up to 11 rounds, trying to claw this one back.
I really are kind of curious about what had Oscar wanting to actually jump on top of Ticket there to try to spot in. He could have held a much safer angle, just sitting next to the boxes, and been pretty alright really with how things played out. Did have Stiko nearby in connector, if anyone were to push him close. Nonetheless, SK do find that 11th round. They're still, very much on the ropes here. It's going to be an eco round from Mousesports, but they have quite the cushion to work with here. So this is just Mousesports playing it safe, as they should. Fur finds the opening on Sunny.
Yeah, that's a pin B. It may actually force him to opt to go towards this B bomb site, which would give him a lot of info, considering Mousesports have stacked A.
Yeah, well, we've seen SK make this mistake once already.
Yeah.
Finding 2 openings on B, still thinking Stiko was there. Opting to run into that 3-man stack on the A-bomb side, albeit different weaponry this time on the Mousesports side. Not quite the same as we saw earlier.
Yeah, and with Mousesports not fighting towards connector or peeking it from the site as well, SK are getting an idea going, okay, A might be clear here. Fallen's trying to get some info, but no one's fighting here for Mouse. SK, again, might walk into this stack. The lucky part is the bomb is actually under their control this time. Mousesports shouldn't be able to win this round, but if SK go for this, they might lose a couple of players in the process. There's one. Oscar takes down Bolts. If he can grab that AK as well, it'll give him something to work with, considering he has armor. But SK, they want nothing to do with that. They'll just rally back towards the B-bomb site where Mousesports have no presence.
For a long time there, it looked like SK were really wanting to go towards that A-bomb site. One of the issues they would have ran into was the fact that they had no Molotovs left, so they wouldn't have been able to force Mousesports out of position either. Well, they do wise up, and now 2v4 situation. Oscar's already gotten an AK though. He might just want to go for a couple of extra kills here, seeing how they will be able to buy up regardless of what happens in this round.
The money's okay for him as well. He's got 6k, so
Yep.
you know, no worries at all. Obviously, a saved AK would just give a bit of a boost, and with Taco damaging him, even with the kill from Oscar, he's definitely going to save. Needs to move from here though, because underpass will kill him with the bomb, especially with being this low HP. I'm sure he realizes that though.
I'm actually surprised at the fact that he's opting to go this route as well.
Yeah.
That's asking for danger. He's heard the footsteps from Coldzera as well. Oh, it's going to get taken out. So what would have been a free AK for Stico there going into the next round? It's going to amount to nothing. Oh well.
Taco's going to run for it. Mac 10 versus MP9. We see the winner there, but still the entry comes onto Krish. He's not going to be able to rotate up, so SK get the bomb site. Yeah. Mousesports very far removed from this position, going to consider the save, and if a pick doesn't come their way, then yeah, that's it. Mousesports holding on to guns.
This is just 100% a save. No real utility really to speak of here on the Mousesports side. No kits either, which is obviously the big factor here in this play. And once again, it's similar to what we saw happen to SK as well. Once they gamble towards mid and A with those 4 players, just having a solo B defender, you have no real chance of actually setting up for a retake because
You would hope.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean, we saw SK kind of staying true to that. The fact that even though we saw a couple of hits toward the B bomb site, SK were adamant about not necessarily giving Taco more support towards that site, even though you know it is a tough gig to hold it solo.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't blame Mousesports for if they were to go back to the same kind of thing. I do like the fact that they haven't necessarily bought up too much either going into this round. You see Chris J has bought a 5.7. Stico back on that MP9. Only player really with, well, severe lack of money is Sunny. So a potential last round buy isn't going to be actually that great for Mousesports here. He is a bit low, but well, I would rather see this from Mousesports though than just buying up with whatever they could for this round because it wouldn't be that much better.
Yeah, and then they literally just have lost bonus to work off of, which
Yep.
not really enough. Even when it's maxed out on the CT side, you need a couple of rounds. That's why you need these ecos, especially on CT. But as you say, holding on to some cash and holding on to no utility. It's going to be Mousesports with a smoke and a flash left up and no kits either. So if a bomb goes down, then surely we're going to see some form of save from Mousesports.
You would assume so. And well, Mousesports right now, we haven't seen nearly any of this aggression that was mentioned, at the start of the broadcast, which is a bit curious, especially now in a situation where they don't have the utility to necessarily hold back SK and try to play for the time running out or anything like that. You imagine that they did go aggressive to find some sort of information to kind of clear out SK and just get some sort of information at any given point of the map. They don't have the utility to necessarily fight their way up anywhere, up mid for instance, but kind of have to take risks in this scenario. And Stico gets caught out by Taco. Sunny's in a really good position here. He's going to deny this bomb plant. the very end, not able to find that second kill onto Coldzera though, and well, Chris J, surprisingly aggressive actually, considering how far away his teammates were. I'm not really sure what the intent was there. But as you mentioned, players towards that A bomb site, they only really have one option in this scenario, and that's to hold on to their weapons. And SK are obviously fully aware of this, so they're going to go hunting immediately.
I think one of the big things as well is we've not really seen Oscar in a position where he can get work done with this AWP. You know, SK haven't been putting pressure on middle a lot of the time when Oscar's been there. It's been, you know, him towards A and SK constantly taking this B site through the short or through the apartment. So Oscar's not getting a chance to open up rounds like we know. And obviously, while you say, you know, we should be seeing some aggression from Mousesports, that's what we know them for in this half. But despite that, SK are not running into Oscar. So with him not being able to get 1 or 2 picks at the start of the round to pull them into a great position, you know, it's hard for Mousesports to be winning these CT rounds. And Oscar does a great job at saving and getting a couple of kills on the exit. But money's not a factor for SK. They can afford to chase as much as they want. Money, however, is a factor for Mousesports. They haven't got a lot of it.
No, they really did. Well, they really didn't. And the fact that Robson and Oscar are able to hold on to their weapons allows them to drop an op for Chris J, and also an additional Colt there. So they will actually get a pretty decent buy going into the last round off the back of that. Well, Mousesports deciding to take a pause here, talk things over. Obviously, you want to be able to close SK out. We know what happens when SK make it back to overtimes and that kind of stuff. It's history repeating itself over and over again.
And again, Mousesports 15-14 with 2 pistol rounds and the conversions taken into account. Not only did the SK get the bomb plant on the pistol and force up second, which Mousesports also won, so they got 6 rounds for free, on the Mousesports side. Obviously, you know, not really for free, but in terms of rifle rounds, it's been SK all across the board here, taking these on the T side, looking fantastic as always. And yeah, overtime already for the first map, looking very possible. It's 15-14, Mousesports tactical pause about to expire, and we're going to see what they can throw into this potential last round. 2 AWPs, as you say. The save is pivotal, so it allows for the Molotovs and the kits, and this is pretty much a full buy versus a full buy. Exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, and well, considering the positioning from Mousesports, we're not going to see any aggression here right now either. And it kind of makes sense now they're finally on full utility. They pretty much have the perfect setup to do what they want, and I feel like playing passively here is going to be the way to go. SK, though, with the same setup as previous rounds, only one really peering towards anything is for an underpass, expecting someone to drop down there. To be fair, we have seen one instance of Sunny playing aggressively in that underpass area. Yeah, SK just not willing to take any chances. They know what Mousesports can do.
And so confident towards B again. I said at 15-12, surely they won't rush B 3 rounds in a row. And it seems like they're set up for it, right? They've got the bomb in apartments, they've got all players on that side of the map, holding for the aggro A push the Mousesports like to do up towards ramp with Rops and Oscar commonly. But, you know, it's not coming through yet for SK. However, they're still poised to do so. Mousesports have to be very, very careful if they're running this solo B setup. But look at Oscar's rotation.
Yeah, but what's really cool, though, is the fact that SK Gaming haven't moved an inch pretty much since the start of the round, but they've already been able to waste so much utility on the side of Mousesports. Look at them, they have 1 Molotov left to hold anyone back. Stico, for instance, over towards that B bomb site, gets flashed once by Skyrim Flash and just immediately drops his smoke. And there's no reaction for SK whatsoever.
Yeah, Sunny naded as well up in window, so... You know, SK about to walk into B. Oscar's rotated, luckily enough, and Sunny does catch Fur walking through the smoke. A big issue there now for SK. They have to rely on this push, but Oscar's there, and this is the man we need on the B-bomb site. 2 kills of the AWP, shutting down SK, expecting the third towards short, and he'll hit it as well. Oscar looking to shut down this round, and while he does go down, he's still done his job. 6 seconds left is not enough as Stico finishes off the map, and Mousesports take it 16-14 on Mirage. What a performance.
Just barely scraping by there towards the end, but we finally got to see Oscar being, you know, part of the action there on the CT side. It took a while, but, you know, those who wait for something good. And that's going to be an overall impressive showing from Mousesports there. Obviously, you mentioned the fact that they did get both pistols, which definitely was a massive factor in this game, but, you know, overall felt they played a pretty good game. SK, on the other hand, definitely had some mistakes made on both sides.
Yeah, and Furrow as well, struggling, like we talked about a little bit. You know, his CT aggression was kind of caught off. He got a bit scared towards the latter stage of the CT half to get aggressive and to get those picks that we know him to do as well. So a bit of an issue for SK, but we did say coming into this matchup, you know, if this is going through maps, Mirage will have to be Mousesports. Yeah. Moving forward to Cobble, SK should be confident.
Yeah, no, they definitely should. And considering in the manner SK lost, I think they feel like they should have been able to win this. The fact that they make it this close with 2 lost pistols, and obviously some pretty basic mistakes on their end. Yeah, they should be pretty confident in the fact that they should be able to take this to a third.
Yeah, obviously Mousesports played Cobble yesterday up against VP. They did get 19 rounds, but it was VP with 22 who took that away in the series. The only map the VP won in that best of 3, obviously, that put Mousesports in the 1-0 bracket. And if they went 2-0 as well, if they managed to take the second or even third map on Mousesports' side and went 2-0, that'd be a really impressive feat. Because obviously we talk about them getting very deep in tournaments, but not quite being able to break into consistent victories, I would say. So for them going 2-0, beating the likes of both VP, obviously a big question mark on that team, and SK, that'd be great. But again, like we've been saying, like you've especially been saying, Vendetta, SK, a team that never gives up until the matchup is over.
Yeah. So still big task at hand for Mousesports, but they got off to the start that they needed. And obviously you can't ask for anything more. And I still, even if SK do pick up Cobble, going into third map, that's going to be Inferno. I'm not, I can't feel too confident about SK on that map, just because we've seen so varied performances from them at so many times. So yeah, definitely chances here for Mousesports, and as we see the best performing players on both sides. And well, I say both sides, but it's only one instance of an SK player here, and that's Cold Zero on 30 frags. But yeah, Sunny sitting on 27. Oscar actually getting up to 23. And we talked about how it felt like he was pretty quiet, but just steadily picking up a frag here and there, obviously ending the game in a pretty spectacular fashion. But Sunny, yeah, once more putting up an excellent performance on Mirage.
This is such a superstar roster for Mousesports, right? The budget phase, we say, but
yeah.
I mean, maybe not for too long. They're improving leaps and bounds every single time, and now moving forward to a second map with a 1-0 advantage. Mousesports poised perfectly to take this series, but it is a real question mark. Moving forward to Cobble, what would you say is the win condition for Mousesports?
Win condition, it's hard to say. Obviously, we saw great performances from kind of the supporting cast, if you'd like to call it that, on the Mousesports side. And even then, Oscar managed to get into the fray of things towards the end. But I think, again, it's going to be a boring answer, but Oscar is obviously going to be pivotal. And I also think, Chris J can catch a lot of people off guard because he's also putting himself into a lot of entry frag roles here. After he's become an in-game leader, we saw it on Mirage as well, kind of being the first man up on the A bomb site, trying to either create space or find those openings. And if you can do that with success, obviously that's going to be a massive gain for Mousesports.
Well, either way, we're going to be going for a short break. We'll be back with Cobblestone, the second map of the series, to see if Mousesports can take this victory or if SK want to play Inferno. We'll see you soon.
Bet online esports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
Bet, online esports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
A 16-14 victory for Mousesports on the first map Mirage. Now we move to the pick of SK. Definitely a chance for a comeback for the Brazilians, but obviously they are going to be hard fought. Mousesports are an impressive team, as they've shown us. Where do you expect this to go?
This is a map I see a bit of a clearer favorite going into it. Obviously, it's not like Cobblestone is a map that Mousesports necessarily shy away from, but they don't necessarily do too well versus the better teams in the world on the map either. And then we have SK on the other hand, who kind of made Cobblestone their fortress, really, home turf for them in so many ways. As they made their comeuppance towards or made their way towards that number one spot in the world. So for me, I'm looking at SK as quite heavy favorites actually on a map like Cobble. And I think there's going to be a lot of win conditions that have to come into place if Mousesports are going to have a fighting chance.
Yeah, but if we have everyone popping off on all cylinders for the Mousesports side, which we did have in the previous map, obviously, everyone dropping more than 20 kills, then there's certainly a potential for upset. We can't, blindly sweep this under the rug and say it's definitely SK. But I do agree, they are definitely the favourites for this map.
Obviously, and, Well, they have to play it through, right? Like it has to be played out. The game is not decided on paper, as we've seen so many times. Hell, even just in this tournament, just earlier today, we had Tyloo beating Fnatic 2-0.
Expected.
Yeah, obviously. We saw them yesterday. We saw the potential.
Yeah, throwing bombs out of apartments left and right.
Exactly. New meta.
Why wouldn't you think they were going to take the Fnatic down?
Yeah.
Even a near win for MVP as well onto VP, taking it to all three maps. How many? 2 overtimes?
2 overtimes, yeah. That very last round of regulation. Yeah. With the 4v2 that MVP manages to lose out on with just some really unfortunate timing. So yeah, no, definitely a lot of interesting results coming through here, and obviously if Mousesports were to beat SK on Cobblestone and then as a result make it to 2-0 would be very, very impressive.
it'd be adding to the consistency that this team is lacking at the moment, because they have the limit and the potential to make these grand finals, as we've seen, but it's the consistency of doing so that they can't quite reach, like the SKs, like the Phases, for example, and maybe in the future, like the Cloud9s, definitely a team that's starting to look improved as since the major as well, especially coming into this event. But we are going to be seeing the pistol round in just a second. I think that was SK taking the knife round as well, so they'll get the pick. I'm imagining T-side.
Yeah, that would be surprised if we saw something else. But, to keep in mind, or to kind of build on what you talked about, how Mousesports do have a shot at this, we did see SK play Cobble yesterday versus MVP. And obviously that would have been, definitely a more unfavored matchup, I'd say, for MVP than it is for Mousesports. Because obviously you give Mousesports more of a chance to do it. And MVP definitely put a bit of a scare into SK Gaming there, being able to reset them pretty much on after every single round SK picked up, going into that second half with a 10-5 lead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. And obviously, I think if Mousesports can go into the CT half with 10 rounds in the bag, then they're going to feel pretty happy about that. Actually, we do see SK picking that CT side, though.
Yeah, that may have been my mistake. I thought SK cut the knife, but I may have been looking away. Mousesports, either way. T-side start, utility on Chris J. P250 on Rops again. We saw him decimate Fallen in the window room in the previous pistol round. T-side on Mirage.
But actually, you weren't incorrect. It was actually SK picking up the knife round. So, they opted to go for CT.
Interesting. We'll see how this works out. Either way, Fur's already kicked things off. The aggressive player we know. It does open up onto Oscar, so that's a pick down A long. Mousesports still about to filter through middle, but if they sneak their way up, they could easily take control up towards this position behind Fur, but we do have Fallen spotting the door, so information can be gained from SK, and Fur isn't at any danger just yet. Unless they start to push their way up long. There is Rops there with a P250 at range, but Sunny just headshot comes in for Fur. Rops does respond, so consistent as ever with this P250, so Mouse will pull it back for one, but it's still a man advantage for SK Gaming.
Yeah, this time the aggression works out better for Fur than what we saw versus MVP. There he got immediately traded. Here he at least gets 2 first troubles. Mousesports already moving out from A-Halls. Fallen already on the side, so he's going to be able to buy some time for rotations to come in, and Coldzera does exactly that. Picks up Stico as he tries to cross over to the bomb site. Now, a really rough spot for the entirety of the Mousesports team to be in. Does find Coldzera to add a second to his tally, but SK never really in any sort of danger of losing that round with the start for got them.
Yeah, pretty easy, at least kick off to the CT side. We question why they picked it as a team known to be so strong on that terrorist half, but it seems to have worked out for the time being. Mousesports second round, you can expect the force here with no bomb plant to come in. They will do exactly that. So Deagles, a CZ up on the hands of Sunny. Not too much to play with in terms of utility, just a couple of flashbangs, but it's very common you'll see a fast B play with this kind of round. However, with Deagles, Mousesports potentially setting up for the default up towards A. That's going to be Stico and Oscar doing exactly that, while the rest of them hold B-halls for the time being, seeing if SK bring any aggression and try and get in the face of this T side.
Yeah, Sunny using his flash to kind of eke closer towards drop room here. Taco's going to be re-smoking that. So, bit of a weight on hand for Mousesports, and taking a bit of damage. Stico down to 5 HP. Oscar tagged for 33 as well. Right now, it's just a waiting game. And it's oftentimes this is how these rounds play out. If it's not a rush, it's a very standstill round. Just hoping that someone from the CT side is going to go for some aggression, which is not necessarily that easy or that favorable a lot of the time on this map. Here we go. Slowly moving their way out on plateau. Going to get picked apart. And only Sunny remains. Has made his way down drop room, but we get caught out by Fallen. When I say caught out, he does win out the duel, but the rest of the SK team knows where the finished players is. So actually be able to pick up Bolson once more. We've seen this from Bolson before as well on Mirage. Going unnecessarily aggressive here. Does have to pay with his life as well. And that adds a bit more cash in the bank of Sunny, so he should be happy about how that round turned out for him. SK though, once again, surviving with 3 players, which is kind of the golden rule in these kinds of rounds. Still allows you to build a bit of bank even though you have to reinvest on 2 players.
Yeah, the SMG is obviously getting a bit more cash, a bit more buck for your bang, I guess you could say. But Mousesports, P250, Deagle, and 3 Glocks. This should be a fairly safe one for SK once again with the rifles and 3 SMGs and play more MP9s to hold on to as Mousesports set up early towards the B-bomb site. Again, with no utility, I say set up, it's very likely they'll just be trying to walk out as they did in the previous one. Very hard to take this B site without utility at times when you're just down on these pistols. Bolt is going to be there, ready and waiting, already boosted into the drop room, taking down Stiko. And I mean, he can afford to face it. He's going to hold passive for the time being, but you know, he can definitely take a fight, try and get another kill. Mousesports are unequipped as he is aware. And the rest of his team may be getting a bit aggressive as well to try and support this. Cold Zero's already pushed up as well. Fallen's going to take control towards middle, so these SMGs are certainly trying to get in the face of Mousesports. Oscar is going to be the only man to do damage, and that's with a Glock. But that should be the only kill going the way of Mousesports, I think.
Bomb obviously in full control for SK, and you can see how aware they are of the situation as well. They just want those SMGs to farm as much money as possible, and that's why Cold Zero is the one being sent forward initially, together with Bolts, to pick up some extra cash. And they do get 4 out of the total 5 kills with those weapons. And again, let's see how greedy SK decides to be, if they want to choose to hold on to these SMGs and have a bit of a throwaway round. Seems like that's going to be the case as well. Cold Zero does upgrade to, or does get a Colt. While Taco takes the reins of that MP9. Bolts just sticks with his own. Fallen up in hands as well, so he's going to be able to create a lot of havoc towards that A-bomb site. Seemingly going very aggressive here to start things off as well, together with Fur in A.
No AWP for the T side either, so Mousesports, well, they have the utility. No mollies apart from Onsani and no AWP. Cold Zero, he just jumps off tree to plateau and takes down Rops with the help of a flashbang from his teammate. Good way to start things off with the pick of your SK Gaming, and Mousesports with only one player down towards long had no response to that pick. Rops doesn't have a teammate to trade it, and SK is just sitting comfortably in a man advantage now as Mousesports going to have to look for a pick on another part of the map. Sunny aims towards the drop down as 2 players work their way up long, but if this engagement goes away a third, that could have been dangerous because that's a 5-on-3, but luckily Oscar gets the better of him.
Yeah. So they bring it back to equal numbers at least. Very well done from SK there, not overstaying their welcome after getting that first frag. We saw that being an issue a couple of times on Mirage on that CT side. Just always wanting to grab that extra frag. Still no need for any rotations as Fallen has kind of cut off the entirety of mid. We'll find Stiko as well as Cold Zero finds Sunny on the opposite side of the map. And Mousesports, Oscar.
That is so unlucky.
Yeah.
Because Fallen's not ready for that push at all. He just goes in front of the Molotov, but he can't quite hit the spray as Fallen crosses back. 1 HP in the molly, and Fallen not even opting to go for the pistol. Pulls out the AWP, and that'll be a 4-0 for SK. So Mousesports, I mean, playing very individual there, looking for picks on their own, not really going for an execution early on into this half. Obviously, I'm sure they have some up their sleeve.
Yeah, I was about to say the fact that they never really got into a situation where they could set up for any sort of execution, just being picked apart on both sides of the map. And towards the end there, you see the bomb just on their own, on its lonesome really towards that B site. While Oscar goes chasing for Fallen. That's not going to net you a whole lot of rounds. This time SK getting off to a much better start. Just getting the pistol obviously is a big improvement from what we saw in Mirage.
That is true. Both of them going to Mousesports, and still only a 16-14 win. A win is a win nonetheless, but it was close. So now if SK take pistols, Mousesports need to perform even better than they did in their own map pick.
Yeah.
To try and pull it back to a victory. This is, again, just to clarify for those unaware, this is not going to be an easy game for Mouse on this map.
No, it's definitely going to be a tough task. And we did see them even on the map that I guess if we were to favor them on any map, it would have been Mirage. They did have their issues actually finding rounds, in full buy rounds. And obviously, they're not going to have as many of them either here.
You can see them questioning whether they wanted to burst and go in front of that Molotov or fall back. Not opting to commit with their earlier utility, but they have a couple of flashbangs. However, Taco's hiding at the back of the coop. Not going to be blinded. Neither is Cold Zero on the pillar. 2 for him. Taco to support from the back as well. Cold Zero on 4. Not going to happen, actually. Sunny is going to be taken down by Fallen. 3 for Cold Zero instead. And a 5-0 for SK. Not really much shown in that eco, but now we should have an execution from Mousesports. Something interesting, at least, because these defaults they've been running at least round in the buy round amounted to pretty much nothing.
Yeah. Zeriak here not going to have the economy to get an op in the hands of Oscar either, which is a bit of a shame. And money on the side of SK looking excellent at this point. Double ops coming out, and even with that double op investment, still having enough cash to be able to buy up, even if they were to lose this one. Bolt's still sticking with that MP9, just getting as much out of it as humanly possible, and the pace here getting picked up by Mousesports.
Yeah, smokes over the site, and Taco tried to go for the pick with the AWP, but he has to fall back. Coldzera now doesn't have support from the Coop like he did in the previous round, so he's already dead to right. Bolts can't get a shot off with the MP9, and Mousesports hitting every single kill into this bomb site, completely pushing SK out. There's even Rops in the drop down, he's even found Fallen, so I mean Mousesports, that's definitely an improvement from their first buy round. Fur is now the last man up, and he's already looking to hold on to this M4. Obviously, SK have money for the future, but there's no real way he can win this round. Just maybe do some damage to the Mousesports players exiting up through B long later.
Yeah, just non-stop aggression from Mousesports on that end. And as you mentioned, the fact that Taco wanted to set up for that pick with the AWP is just not allowed to get into position with the quick pace from Mousesports. Just throws everything out of whack. Coldzera just really trying to get out nades as he get caught out from Statue. And that just sets everything out of control for SK Gaming. Not even able to hold on to that AWP that Fallen had as he was getting wrapped around by Robs from Drop Room.
And I like how reserved Mousesports play in terms of the post plant as well. They actually push all 5 players to just sit in the connector and the kind of no man's land where you know that last player isn't going to be. He might hold the outside of B long or even on the A site, but he's not going to sit in the connector because it's such a dangerous position because Mousesports are going to have all your players just moving out of the site together.
Yeah.
So they keep all 5 alive, they move forward with a bit of money as well to fall back on if SK do find this reset, and that's certainly possible because SK have a hell of a lot of cash. Double AWP back in as Coldzera and Fallen will pick that up. No AWP setup early on towards Plateau for Taco this time. He just sits close towards the broken wall, and Mousesports run the early default to see if they can try and catch any members of SK on the aggression. Talking of which, Fur flashing himself through long, won't find anything.
Here's the hop shot though from Oscar, so probably not going to be too keen on re-peeking that. Just sets himself up in the corner here on top of the hay balls.
Flash towards middle though. Stiko now knows where one of the AWPs are. Towards the door is Fallen. Stiko maybe flashing himself through. This is a big move. He's going to be alone again. He has to get a pick here. Tag down to 4 HP. Will Bolts expect this push through the connector though? Yes, he will. Through the doors. Bolts finds that early frag, and now Coldzera can follow up. Dropping the bomb on B. He's naded out of position, but he's still stuck on the stairwell. Molotov comes in, but Rops is blind and he can't get the kill. Taco defends, and Coldzera follows up. What a perfect play from the SK Gaming side on that B bomb site. 6-1 up, and it's showing.
Yeah. Taco being Coldzera's guardian angel in that scenario.
Again,
it's pretty much dead to rights there for the Mousesports player as he moves up behind the wooden boxes on top of Plateau. Gets a bullet to the side of the head from Taco, which saves gold and allows him to pick up a second frag as well. You see those double ops doing a lot of work. Ball doesn't get the kill onto Stiko, but obviously putting him down to 4 HP through that tree makes the job very easy for Bolts. Cool idea from Mousesports.
Double molly though from SK. They want to shut down this early presence from Mousesports. Somehow Rops runs right through it, and he's in a great position. Taco might not expect this as well. Flash going up, but yeah, you can see Taco completely blindsided here. Rops knows Taco's likely gone for the peak with that flashbang, so he gets the kill. Coldzera spotted, and wallbanged as well. Needs to be very careful against this AWP. Rops can't afford to wide peek this. Now Bolts as well falling off the angle as Chris J's taking control towards the drop, and Coldzera just can't react quick enough. That is SK Gaming once again being executed on B. Mousesports, nice attacks on this site so far. They don't just go for the full crazy rush. It seems to work out quite well.
Yeah, and but I guess the connection between the 2 rounds is the tempo really. Tempo is king so far for this Mousesports lineup, and even though they don't fully commit to it, obviously it sets Robs into a perfect position to find that opening frag. And Mousesports are really good at actually just jumping on whatever opening they find there. So instead of being hesitant off of that first frag from Stiko, just sending in the remainder of the troops to back him up really does the trick for them. This time though, SK will be able to hold on to 2 weapons, as by the looks of it. And one of them is an AWP on Fallen, and they do have enough money here to get buys going around. Taco sitting on 8k for being one of the survivors, sitting on 7.5, so they will have a double op setup available to them if they'd like to do so. Then again, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Only Fallen gets that kind of privilege. And still very healthy buy on their end.
Yeah, but it may be their last. I'm looking at this money trying to work it out, but you know, if Mousesports find this next round, SK only have $1,900 loss bonus and only one player with actual cash, you know, first sitting on 6,000. I don't, you know, they could force to get the next round, but it really won't be a great buy, nor will they have a double or maybe one if they want to commit for that, but Pistols and the other players. The way Mousesports go back to B once again, Rob's taking control towards the plateau, but this time SK a little bit more aware. They're going to give up all this aggressive plateau control and instead set it on the tree. Coldzera, mollied off, smoking the molly. They should expect him to still be here because they know they throw molly to that position. Sunny going to find the opening kill, and Coldzera, he knows he needs to trade, but he's flashed, and Rops will finish off that frag as well. Mousesports just taking these kills one by one and still having tradable positions while doing so. SK cordoned out by the smokes, and Fallen trying to get back in. That's a big shot to Oscar. Drops the other AWP player of the T side, but Rops still responding. And Mousesports, again, another B execute just going perfectly.
Yeah, again, very fast as well. No hesitation from Mousesports. Quite surprised to see Fallen commit so heavily to finding that one pick. I think they would have been far better off by trying to save those 3 weapons. Could have kind of grouped up at one spot of the map. Any Mousesports players who wanted to go hunting would have been at a severe disadvantage, especially with all the smokes down. So he did have, you know, exit paths really available to him to get out of dodge there. So he gets that 1 kill onto Oscar, and while that is nice, if you drop his off, it's still going to be plenty of opportunities for Mousesports to pick that up, and that's just what they've done. You can see Rob's holding on to that for now.
With that save as well, now the questionable buy can turn into a realistic buy here for SK. You see Furs on 9,000. Taco can just get an M4 with body armor. You know, we could see a buy here certainly from SK, and I imagine we will. Bolt's buying up utility though, and Fur going for the scout, so maybe a bit more reserved.
Yeah.
You know, no qualms against this. It's a safer bet for SK to actually go for a half buy rather than fully commit. They can get some pistols, get some armor, but at the end of the day, they'll be going for that double orb next round, very likely.
Yeah, it's a smarter decision to make long term. I think if they're obviously able to save one more weapon into that round, they're going to fully buy in. Well, regardless of that, they're going to keep up the tempo, but follow with that scout doing immense damage.
Mousesports were always trying to kill their team in the process on that B play. Now they're in a 2-on-3, and while SK still aren't equipped for this one in terms of the weaponry, first flank, aggressive player, but he won't get anything for it, just damage to Sunny. Stiko's got himself in a nice position though, and the bomb's still under control of Mousesports for the time being. Taco doesn't need to force anything here, he can just wait on the site for someone to make a move.
Picks up the AK. Doesn't have any idea that Stiko is so far forward though on plateau. He really needs to get just into a corner where he can more or less guarantee himself getting one frag and leave Bolts in a potential 1v1, because they have split themselves up. Obviously with Sunny being able to win the duel versus Fur, there is an opening towards that bomb site, but yeah, Stiko doing his due diligence, finding Taco as well.
What can you even do against that? There's nothing you can do. Taco played that fine, good position, gets the gun, doesn't over-aggress, and Stiko just ruins his day.
It really does. Solo does take quite a bit of damage though, so 46 HP on Stiko. 2 bullets from Bolts, and obviously Sunny at 6. He does have an op though, so only needs to make 1 connection.
Ooh, okay. Bolts hits a shot, and Sunny misses, but does he know where the second player is? No, Stiko, same position on the site, and Mousesports, they all fight their way to 4 rounds on this T side, and great money at that as well. That's the only round we've seen them actually lose a lot of players on the Mousesports side versus the Force of SK, or the half buy, I guess. But now, good situation for SK, because they've got cash to play with, they went for that eco, they can buy up, and, well, they can put everything into this. AWP on Fallen, rifles on everyone else. We've got Mousesports with a couple of SMGs. Are they misreading this?
It seems like I think
they
might be
assumed that
expecting
SK bought, because we saw only rifles, because we saw 2 players. We saw Fallen with the Scout, one with the M4, then we saw a gun picked up on Taco, so Mousesports thought that was the Force, but it was actually Eco. Doesn't seem to matter for Fur what he has, as the M4 finds 3 kills up on long. Mousesports lose all their SMGs.
Yeah, they lose pretty much all their team. And I actually think that is a misread from Mousesports, but I'm quite confused as to how they would have imagined that being a full investment from SK. Sure, you get the scout on Fallen, but you have to keep tabs on what players are saving, who has gotten a lot of money over the course of the eco rounds that SK have won. Just keep in mind, they kept that for an MP9, for instance, on Bolts for God knows how long. Coldzera didn't really die during the first couple of rounds, so he was able to save up a ton of cash. So all of that comes into play and allows for SK to have a strong buy.
Well, Mousesports not going to be too happy about that, but they've at least got a buy regardless of the outcome of this round. However, we saw them pull themselves out of numerous awkward situations like this on Mirage. They could do it here and now. Stop SK from getting anything done, that'd be great, but Oscar finds the opener. Bolt's dead, however, he's tagged in the process, and even with the smoke out towards door, Fallen's on the site. Molotov to stop the cross, Fallen stays strong on the back, and now Oscar going to try and push into the connector. His teammate's up on B, and he's seen the back of Taco. Will Taco? No, he won't. Oscar's found a second entry. Cold Zero has a great spot to play, but Rops needs to check it. He doesn't. Bomb down, and 20 seconds left. Oscar's got to make a big play, a hero play, as he charges up to long. Cold Zero's going to hear the footsteps. So SK, they'll hold on to the round, but again, it comes down close. Mousesports make it costly.
Yeah, that really matters in the long run. Again, we talked about the golden rule of 3 really staying alive on that CT side. I'm just going to dig deep into the economy of SK. Only Taco with any real reserves to speak of. Well, I say that. Buys fully up, he's the one guy who has to go for a kit. So yeah, Bolt's in the end sitting with the most cash on SK's side, 650. Comes down to Mousesports being able to kind of salvage that round that quickly. Spiraled out of control with first triple kill.
I'm talking it quick again, Mousesports quick to be. All 5 players set up early on, but with Molotovs and smokes coming down from SK, it denies any presence from Mousesports. The utility very good on this CT side. Mousesports auto sniper on Stiko is going to be a big question mark for me. I'm not sure how purposeful that was, but we'll see.
And that does seem to be a bit of wonky. But we see it more on the CT side, obviously. But maybe you can find some success with it. For now, though, Cold Zero playing from Chicken Coop. Rob's not giving himself up just yet, though.
Drop down taken from Mousesports, even with the Molotov. Sunny going to get through to E-Box. Fur's here, but Sunny's found Taco out in the open. Fur's not going to be able to trade. He'll hold the angle, but there's 2 players here, and the flash is perfect. Fur does go down. Stiko follows up with the auto sniper, getting a kill to Cold, and Fallen a flashy shot to the head of Oscar, but he needs more than that. It's a 1v3. And Mousesports already in good post plants. Chris on the stairs, we've got a player wrapping back up long. And one man on the site, Fallen, he's definitely going to consider the save here.
No, it's pretty much his only option at this point. There's no way he's winning the round in a 1v3. Doesn't have a defuse kit, doesn't have any needs to actually create some space for himself. And obviously the money completely shattered for SK. But yeah, this B bomb site just being a constant nuisance for SK. Splinting headache that they can't get rid of. And at this point, you kind of have to imagine that Mousesports, more or less take a page out of Immortal's playbook whenever they played Cobble, which is, only realizing that there is one bomb site, and that is the one true B bomb site. Because for right now, whenever Mousesports have kind of just peered their heads towards A, they've been immediately shut down, whether it's Fur or Fallen being in their way. But that B bomb site constantly garnering them opportunities to get more rounds on the board.
That being said, they haven't really given A much of a chance. The only rounds I can think of other than pistols and ecos is when the one round where Stiko ran up mid and got killed from Fallen, which was unfortunate, or got tagged, and the round where they ran a lot of SMGs up towards A long and they got mowed down from first. So they weren't even well equipped for that fight anyway. So, maybe give B a chance. I guess if B's working, there's no need, and Oscar's aggressive towards Plateau. A classic position with this AWP. 2 players here from the SK side. Flash over. He pushes with it. How does he get that entry? Cold Zero trades, and Fallen will actually hit a shot, tagging Chris in the process as well. So Mousesports, they're up against Eco here, but there's 2 orbs picked up from SK. There's still armor on everyone here. Chris has to make a play, but he's not going to be able to. Stiko's last man alive, and all of a sudden, SK have done it.
I'm really confused as to how Mousesports decided to go with the idea of having Oscar being the point man on a potential B rush.
On an anti-eco of all rounds.
Yeah, fair enough, that Fallen is held on to an op, but strength in numbers, obviously. If you're actually going to commit to dropping down Broken Wall, then at least let that be an 8K, have Oscar be the second man in if that's the case. If you're afraid of the op, then maybe, you get a shot out of Fallen on the first guy dropping wall. And that's going to be enough of an opportunity for Oscar to get the refrag onto Fallen.
Definitely. The AWP is so powerful when you just post up on Plateau and just rain down shots to the site. Chicken coop, statue. You've even got all the way down the highway to electric and drop. There's no reason to drop off Broken Wall when you're the AWP, when you have 4 rifles as support. It's not like they were playing an eco with 4 pistols and AWP where the AWP needs to go big. They had the weapons for that. So, no, I agree. Definitely questionable. But a gun gifted the way of Stiko this round. For aggressive, not working out. But he is low, and he is the only armored player as well, so he may as well just commit to this.
Just going to be interesting to see whether or not Mousesports lets Stico plays point here. Just have him kind of stray off into the wilderness towards A and maybe get a different an additional pick to what he's already gotten. But it seems like SK are taking measures to it, putting Cold Zero as the sole defender of that B plat with an AWP handed over to him by Taco.
Haircut for Sunny, maybe.
Yeah.
Just avoids it. What happens when you don't tip your barber? He's going to be very careful now. He is the only man up on this site. So Mousesports have rotated that AK, and in the meantime taken drop control. Oscar's there. And Cold Zero is actually not holding the angle. I don't know if he's exposed from this position. He shouldn't be. No, he's behind the boxes, so it's okay. And Taco's also on the back lines as well, so he can shut down if they split to the connector. But if they come out of drop, this is where problems may come through. Chris J not checking the corner. Taco's there. Oscar tries to respond, but Taco just needs to stay alive and hold this cross. There's the shot from Rops of the AWP, looking for a little bit more. Fallen tries to take the fight, but Taco's going to be the one that wins it. Now it is just Fallen, a 1v2 on Cobble B site. He moves in with the AK. Nade does do damage. Stico is low, and he knows he's still there. There's the shot from Fallen. Now it's just Rops on the plateau with an AWP, the position we said worked so well earlier on. He's going to fall back very passive. So Fallen with a kit could realistically jump on this bomb, and if Rops expects it to be the fake, then maybe Fallen wins it. But Rops posted, ready and waiting. Fallen wrapping around the site. The bomb obviously planted for him. Fallen has a smoke, and that'll go right on the bomb. He'll stick it as well. Does Rops expect it? Does he know it's a stick? He goes to the smoke shot. It won't connect, and Fallen wins the round. A 1v2 in the smoke. There's nothing Rops can do against that with an AWP.
Well played from Fallen there, and manages to save the round that SK probably should have had full control of. They make the haircut that you mentioned for Sunny actually forces or draws a rotation over from SK's side. So they play with 2 players on that A bomb site, with only 4 players remaining, leaving B bomb site very thin. And Rops hits a great shot with the deagle onto Cold Zero as he's peeking towards long. But yeah, that got really hairy for SK and could have very easily been a round lost. Mousesports though, they're going to have a bye. Birds in position though. Once again, A not really doing them a whole lot of good.
Oh, look at this rotate already. SK having 3 players on the site as one drops out through balcony. Fallen going to double down with his, with SK's second kill of the round, and Bolts is already on default. So Mouse, they're up against a huge defense here from SK, even with the smoke in the door. There's 2 men up here, 1 close as well. Oscar runs through the smoke and catches Cold Zero with his pants down, as now Mousesports have an opportunity. But Fur needs to be caught off guard for that to happen. Oscar misses the shot. That's uncharacteristic, but now it's put him in a really awkward position, because SK know exactly where he sits, and his flank is going to be null and void. Sunny's going to have to open things up instead. But Fur, what's this? He just runs with his knife out, not expecting Sunny to be up all the way through danger. And he'll be able to get it back into a 2v2. Oscar back to the door. Taco with his back turned. What are SK doing? They're hunting for frags, and it's not working out. It's now all on Bolts. And Mousesports expecting him to be on the A bomb site as well. They'll rotate towards B.
This is just a very confusing round from start to finish here. Obviously, it seems like SK in that situation, knowing that they're aware of the fact that Oscar has made it into connector, but they're probably assuming that he's going to hold off any sort of rotation in towards B, and seeing how Sunny picks off Fur as he tries to wrap around. They're, hoping to cut off the bomb. That's pretty much the big game plan, but instead they get heavily punished for it, and instead, once more, what was looking like a pretty solid round for SK is into 1v2. Doesn't clear the angle fully either, and Oscar is going to be able to pick up bolts. So yeah, Mousesports managed to sneak away with one round there at the end. Still though, 6 rounds on the T side, not exactly optimal. But well, you can consider that maybe those 2 last rounds should have gone into the hands of SK regardless. Mousesports just have to take what they've been given and work with that.
And with SK being a very dangerous side on the terrorist half of this map, it's not looking great for Mousesports. Obviously, if the pistol round goes their way and they can get those anti-codes as a result, we could see them equal up the scoreline to 9-9.
Yeah.
So definitely an opportunity for Mousesports to still win this game, but it's not as clear-cut as maybe Mirage was at the half. Mousesports, with the buy, they've got Rops on the kit with double flash, and SK full armor here.
No utility whatsoever. So I'm probably going to be banking on firepower and advantage in numbers.
Firepower, something they certainly have as well. Oscar against unsilenced USP. He takes off the silencer like he did in Mirage. Let's see if it works out. just to try and spice this one up. He'll fall back to the site. And SK, they get a lot of early map control with no utility as well. It's going to be difficult to take A because the door is not going to be smoked. So you can see Rob's in that position. He can just fire down shots as they walk into the open. SK actually not going to opt to commit to this just yet. They'll hold on to the position. Fallen, they're up close, and Sunny trying to take the frag. Bolt's also just chasing down this damage. Sunny's so low, but Oscar's also here for support. They could play some form of bait because SK will think Oscar here is Sunny if he sticks in that corner, but no. SK walk back towards B with the bomb, and with Stiko posted up on the plateau, he'll have a bit of leeway, a bit of time to call for that rotation.
All right, now it seems like SK are kind of undecided as to what they want to do. With how they set up right now, we might be looking at an A split, and down drop they go. Mousesports having no idea of what's about to come. Robs gets taken out immediately. Well, one's going to fall on Oscar. He is able to find the first frag. Sunny as well chips in, but within the span of a few seconds, it's almost all down to Sunny alone on that bomb. So we do have a wrap though from Stiko.
Oh, and he catches cold as well, sitting in the door, watching down lower. So Stiko surprisingly getting that frag and even doubling down.
Yeah.
Great round from Mousesports, great round from Stiko, but I did like what SK were doing. The whole plan there was to show presence up towards A, force Mousesports to rotate a player from B towards the A site, so there's a 3-man defense, and therefore, because of that rotation, they give up drop down. It's very common. If you're going to rotate play to A, you'll fall out of drop, you'll move a B player to a connector, and then that just gives SK drop down for free with no utility, so they can send that 3-man split in.
Yeah, the idea was really good from SK, and with them being able to pick up ROPS almost immediately the second they get into connector, you know, you'd expect SK to get more out of it, but Sunny and Oscar just finding enough frags to hold SK back there, making it up to sight. That allows for Stiko to get into the backs of them. They swing it around, and a much needed pistol round for Mousesports here.
Definitely. So their opportunity to pull this one back in their favour, or at least to a 9-9 here with a force buy from SK. No bomb plant, although we saw them force anyway on Mirage even with the bomb plant.
Yeah.
It's just CZs and a lone deagle on Taco who's been tagged early. Fur fakes the fall, and Rops not going to be biting, just sitting still in the connector. Oscar going to try and scout shot towards mid. SK just playing with their food, but they will be working their way up long, this time with a little more utility to cut off that door, stop that rotation. Mousesports going to be still with only 2 players here, so not a lot of information on the setup of SK, and that's because they're not contesting the plateau. You see Stiko's in there, but he's hiding in the corner, so they really don't have any information as to where SK are, but this push will give it away. Molotov down, push up through mid. Taco going to find the opener as Sunny burns down bolts, and Ropsy needs to step up here. He does. Third dead. And now SK, they are going to be really struggling with this one. Their utility is gone. The jig is up. Mousesports are already on the flank up through mid from Stiko that we saw in the pistol round, and Rops is just rallying down shots. Sunny sitting on the back of the site as well. Fallen's going to have to get that reload, and there we go. Mousesports, an 8th round on the board. Nice setup. Was a bit scared at one point without having the rotation, but they make it work.
Yeah, no, definitely was a bit of a chance there for SK to maybe, you know, get the jump on Oscar as he has to swap out from his scout to the P250 once he misses that first shot. But yeah, as you said, a bit of a slow approach from SK gives Mousesports all the time in the world they need to actually set up a proper defense and a good crossfire. It's going to net them their 8th round, and also, you know, a much needed economy building session here. Oscar with the aggressive peek, not going to connect his shot though. Only Stiko really with an SMG here. So we can't necessarily build up too much money from kills alone, but managing to stay alive is going to be the main goal at hand.
Yeah, no rebuys for the nades, the armor, the kit. Even to some extent the weapon, as cheap as the MP9 is. Oscar trying to look for something in middle. SK again, full Glocks. We really don't expect even a frag out of them at this point. We've got a double setup in door to shut down that mid play. Oscar's going to get tagged down and actually killed by Cold Zero, even with the Glock. But that should be the only casualty. Rops just can fall back and wait for his team to rotate in, because he doesn't need to get any more kills being on 4 HP. Cold Zero might find it though, and he does. 2 kills with a Glock already. Even a dink onto Stiko will give up the position. So Mousesports still secure it, but I mean, that's a round where you should be having 0 casualties. Sloppy from Mousesports.
Yeah, Oscar, even though he's spotted out Cold Zero, and Cold Zero's shown that he's willing to repick at 2 instances, still decides to stay outside in the open. Still, when there's 2 Mousesports players already, you know, keeping tabs on what's going on in A-halls, that leads to his demise as well. Cold Zero doing an insane amount of damage for just having a Glock there. Nearly netting himself 3 kills.
Imagine him with an AK.
Yeah.
Well, we won't have to for too much longer. He's got it, as do SK, but 2 kills, limiting somewhat. Rop's going for an early peek towards Plateau with a flashbang, and he'll catch Taco out of position. Smoke will fail, but hey, doesn't matter too much. Just means SK can gain ground on long, but they're not doing so. They're sitting outside of A for the time being.
Just falling towards that B area. And all really. Sitting with a bump. Waiting for someone from Mousesports to potentially be boosted up into drop room. Nobody there to oblige though. So there are fairly passive setup coming in from Mousesports here. Only 2 players towards B though. We'll have 1 player outside of the drop room. And obviously Sticko here on B line. He's gonna run out of the Molotov. Always the flash. And perfectly timed. As he turns around to find Bolt. He's just gonna continue through the smoke here. Might catch falling off guard if he does, and it will.
That's a clever play from Sticko though.
Really well done. And the position that he wanted to go into initially has pretty much been a spot that I've just dubbed the Sticko corner. When he was playing in Hellraiser, he would literally not play a different position than that cubby. But yeah, you know, still showing that he's able to work his way around it, even when he gets Molotov'd out. It's really well thought out aggression there. Timing the flash dodge perfectly, and also just catching falling completely with the constant forward movement.
And obviously we've only seen 1 buy round from SK on this half, so let's not look into it too early. But this is scary now. Mousesports can take 11 rounds, assuming they take this anti-force or anti-quasi from SK.
Yeah.
And already starting to look really good on this second half as well. You know, SK definitely going to be worried moving forward, even with them not having shown too many on the buys.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And also because of the fact that Mousesports have been able to somewhat build up a bit of an economy. Sunny right now is sitting on 9k. I'll make that a little bit extra as he finds bolts as well. So, you know, even if Mousesports were to lose this round, they're still going to be able to buy up. And I'll see how there's only ZZs on the board for SK. Well, should be a possibility for Mousesports to do so, but yeah, Oscar goes down. Sunny nearly finds Cold Zero. And then not going to finish him off either. Down to 4 HP. Fulton's managed to pick up an op here. This could actually be a very dangerous scenario for Mousesports all of a sudden.
This is just down to 1v1s here for Mousesports. Do they predict the angles? Do they hit their shots? Because they're not really in tradable positions aside from Robson, Sunny in middle. Sticko's just got to get a frag here. First close, and the reload's going to come in, so Burr will hear it. He'll push with that. AK dropped. He can go get that as well, because there's no one here from Mousesports. Untradable Sticko. There's now 2 players are left up for the CT side. They've got to force a kill while they know Fur's in the doorway, but that's easier said than done. Fur 2 kills. Rops with the trade, but he's low in the process. And even though Cold Zero is 4 HP, that'll be more than enough. SK, they pick up the force buy. Not even fully investing as well.
Yeah. Now that was definitely unexpected. Obviously, Oscar gets in to peek towards that window room at just the wrong time, facing 2 CZ players, kind of dropping a shot in between them. But even still, you know, you would expect Mousesports to be able to deal with that. I'm actually surprised the fact that they just let Cold Zero go as well. Obviously, Sunny tags him up initially, nades him out, then Robs comes on the long rotate from B. And even though he's nowhere to be found in mid, it just kind of gives you a bit of a tell that he has to be towards A-halls. Just kind of give up on him.
Maybe just a bit of a scare that the players were pushing from behind, because obviously he had the A-bomb site, and he didn't want to get up close against a CZ and try and chase down that kill where he could just lose an M4 because of over-aggression. But either way, good round from SK. Let's see if they can continue their success. Already a man down. Fallen's been dropped by Oscar's AWP pick. So Mousesports sitting in a good position to start things off, definitely. Double up in play as well. Oscar and Chris J on separate sides of the map. We've got Chris down towards that plateau. No more Sticko there. He's in the drop, and so is Fur for that matter. He's gone for the fight. Molotov to hold Sticko out of this position, so Fur can easily take control towards the E-box, but Sticko actually flashing himself instead of Fur.
All a part of the plan. Still 2 players pretty heavily set towards that A-bomb side here from SK. Now from Mousesports, can afford to do this considering they are 1 man up. Still a lot of utility on the side of SK though. They're just waiting for someone from Mousesports to peek their head forward. On that side of Chris J, it doesn't seem like anyone is really willing to do so. And even Chris is going to fall back here. SK seem to start their committal towards the B-bomb site.
Will Fur expect this position though from Sticko, because Chris has already started off. The split through drop down needs to come in right now, but Sticko is still holding strong. Fur's not been spotted, he's not pushed out just yet, but there we go. Finally takes down Robs. Great spray from Sticko! Not only does he take down the player on plat, but he also flicks back to Cold Zero. And Mousesports, another round on the board on this CT side. Yes, they had a sloppy anti-eco last time, but they get the reset. SK do still have a bit of money, but do you buy on this?
It's a really tough decision to make, actually. Honestly, well, still you have 2 players with enough money to buy up Fallen, Kinemic, and AWP in his hands, but outside of that, you'll be rocking ZZs. And the problem is you're not going to have enough money to buy a proper amount of utility. And from what obviously Mousesports, with how these rounds have gone, they're going to be able to fully invest into all kinds of utility. Every Molotov they would have to need to stem off any sort of early aggression, and at that point it becomes really tough to be SK and figure out how you're going to gain control. But yeah, they're going for it, and this could really be the round that decides the game. If SK were to lose this, where they're going to have a little bit of loss bonus, but if they want to have it up in hands of Fallen, they're going to have to double eco. Obviously, that's going to put Mousesports so much closer to that final round to close it out. We could potentially be looking at a Mousesports 2-0 victory, which I definitely didn't think would be the case.
No, I feel like anyone who thought Mousesports was going to win this needed it to go to a third map.
Yeah.
This is impressive so far, and obviously while it's not over, we've seen SK win these kind of buys. It's still very dangerous, so question marks here for the SK side as they have an AK, an AWP, and 3 pistols. Bit of utility as well. They've actually gone for the Molotovs over the smokes here on a couple of the players as well, so got a plan behind that, I can imagine. These players are in drop down, so perfect position to use the mollies. Bolt spots Sunny in middle, and he'll get the opener. Fallen in time as well, takes down Oscar. Very synchronized as now they try and split through the drop down. Rops grabs 2. Fallen with the AWP comes into the back lines as well, and they get the bomb and get out of there. SK, it looked dangerous for a second with that double kill from Rops, but they're back in control.
And Mousesports hesitating a bit to actually get those through 2 players from the B-bomb site through connector. Did have an opportunity to find bolts there. Yeah, SK with a 3v2 after plant situation, and they've gotten solid enough positions here, and they still have utility in the hands of bolts to actually deal with this. So very curious. Mousesports are going to opt to go for it, and yeah, it seems like that call is going to be to save here. That's a rough round to give up if you're Mousesports. That should have been the round that kind of solidified you, and those solidified your lead, and actually allowed you to build up a solid bank, again putting SK back on a potential double eco if they were able to fend them off a bomb plant. Instead, just goes completely haywire. Fallen finding that first frag with bolts.
Well, that's the 2 rounds Mousesports have lost on this T side against these kind of force buys from SK or quasis where they throw in pistols and armor and try and see if they can get these opening kills. Mousesports, they can still buy up here in this position. You can see the money's not too bad, but this will be the last buy. If they don't win this round, SK are back in the lead and they're back to forcing Mousesports to eco, which is a very scary prospect.
It definitely is. That's kind of the terrifying thought, because it doesn't feel like SK have played all too well this game, but they're still sitting at 11-11, and they have the opportunity to put Mousesports on the ground from an economics point of view. It just tells you what kind of team they are, really. Such a high caliber that even when it feels like they're off, they're still able to win.
The scoreline doesn't look how this game's felt. I know exactly what you mean. Mousesports been more flashy, but SK, they're still there. And this is SK's opportunity to win the game here and now by taking this round, forcing Mousesports into the eco and trying to bring themselves closer to that third map that is Inferno. Fallen's in the drop down with an AWP as well, so Mousesports have to be very careful here. Stiko back on this plateau position that we know him for. And teammate on the site, only one teammate though, Chris J. Mousesports have actually opted to hold a very passive drop down from the connector. This could be dangerous, seeing as SK have a lot of players coming up through long. Molotov going to be going towards the stairs. Stiko not going to be going for the face here. Reserved as always, but he peeks with a flash while the smoke is down. I'm not sure if SK spotted him peek there. Because if they did, they could easily molly that position, but
I don't think they actually did.
Well,
he's going to move out regardless, though.
Yeah, 30 seconds left, and now SK going for the execution. Taco's found the opener. Fallen's posted onto Chris's position as well, and Rops is the only man from the CT side to even step up, and it's only somewhat because he's dead to Taco too. Bomb dropped. 20 seconds, and SK, they need to get to the site. Oscar doesn't realise he has control over the bomb, so he jumps into the AWP of Fallen. That could have been the round there if Oscar held onto the bomb and stopped them from crossing to the site.
Yeah, even if Oscar just holds that position and doesn't try to get into drop room, that would have given Sunny more time to actually get the full wraparound. He was pretty much like on the corner to make his way onto B plateau, and I think if that happens, then there's a definite chance for Mousesports to actually have the retake happen. Instead, Oscar opting to go through drop, gets picked up by Fallen, and that just sends Sunny packing. And saving FAMAS is not necessarily a great feeling, to put it that way. Obviously, he doesn't really have too much of a choice, and as you mentioned, the bank of Mousesports is completely depleted. But it is the best case scenario for him at the moment. And SK just somehow, some way, just keep finding rounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say keep finding rounds. That's their third on the T side. You know, they've been slow in the second half, but they're definitely back into the favour now, right? You can't expect them to
throw this away.
I want to say I don't. It's true, but I don't want to say it because anything's possible here. We've seen a lot of weird rounds go both teams' way, really, and now SK, you know, back in control, 12-11. Mousesports having to eco with this one save FAMAS. You know, SK should get 13, and there's, of course, Mousesports bias, so it's anyone getting there, but a 2-round lead for SK on the T side of the second map, this is definitely where they are going to perform best.
I guess, but at the same time,
of it, I'm sure, but there's no teammate in sight. Now they come down to the drop down, and he's actually in a position where he has to commit with it because, yeah, Chris J's in the connector, and Stiko may as well try and fight this one as SK play.
and left alive, 7 HP, not going to be the easiest task in the world, and he goes down as well. And SK on 13 rounds. And even now, well, we see Rops has already decided to buy out, but I was about to say, not really a whole lot of money to speak of on the side of Mousesports. Obviously, we've seen them wanting to go towards that op on Oscar. Not surprisingly, I mean, if you have a player like him, you probably want to get that in his hands as much as possible. Instead, they're going to do a bit of a trade. Stiko takes the hit, buys an op for Oscar, and gets mag 7 in return.
But armorless.
Armless, yeah. Well, he has to go into the Stiko corner. He's got a smoke so he can extinguish any sort of Molotov that comes his way. Or, you know, obviously, with that kind of a weapon, there's plenty of actually very useful positions you can use it in on the CT side of Cobble. The only issue is if they hit the bomb site you're not at, because obviously rotating with the Mag 7, that's pretty much a death sentence. But either playing inside a drop room or playing close by Broken Wall can, you know, be extremely destructive to any opponent. Almost regardless if they, you know, use their Molotovs and do their due diligence, Stiko has the opportunity to basically extinguish that smoke and still stay put.
I mean, he only needs one kill, that's the thing. With this kind of position and weaponry and armor for Stiko, a 1-for-1 is fine.
Yeah.
But
and even then, I think it kind of puts a bit of a... it puts, you know, I guess the fear of God in you the second you see the first teammate go down to kill. But yeah, the boost coming out from Mousesports, that's very aggressive.
not only have we seen Oscar run out B Broken Wall with that AWP on the T side, but now we see him running into the T halls, a position that you know is always going to be covered every single round. A dangerous decision to make, and it's going to come back to Horn Mousesports, because now they're 2 players down. Stiko's actually the only man to get a kill, ironically, with that shotgun. Can upgrade, but to be honest, I think if he's going to commit to drop down, he needs the Mag 7, but he swaps it out for an 8K, begins his rotation towards A, because that's exactly where SK are. Look at Boltz's position, he's forced all the way up, and still full utility on this man as well. The pressure is on Rops. Stiko may have the cross, but Rops needs to hit some insane kills right now. Stiko does get that kill from the balcony, so the AK picked up has great effect, and he's going to look for a little bit more. coldzera tagging him down, and Stiko, he might be out of this fight just now. Rops definitely is. Shot down from coldzera. Stiko takes a position down on the balcony as well. And Yeah, this is so hard to ask of him. He's got a 1v3 and he's just not going to be able to do that. SK 14 to 11. Big mistake from Mousesports to send that drop boost up so aggressively, I think.
Yeah. I guess, it's, you know, to be fair to Mousesports, we haven't really seen too much aggression coming out of them. Again, Cobble is an extremely hard map for CTs to actually do anything of use in terms of pushing up.
Yeah.
And outside of, you know, the one push from Stiko in the midst of smokes and Molotovs, there hasn't really been any forward movement from Mousesports a whole lot of the time. So maybe hoping that SK wouldn't be expecting it, but not the case. That obviously sent things quite awry. Oh, investment just a little bit from Mousesports here. ZZs, P250s, Max 7s. That Oscar. Sunny's going to fall as well. So 2 immediate opening kills for SK. They're going to ramp up the pace as they run up the fine Robs as well. Well, this is pretty much a hopeless situation, and you could say Chris has kind of already called for a save here. Not really too much to hold on to, in all honesty. But then again, Mousesports not really in a scenario where they have too much to work with going into the next round either, considering their money situation.
Yeah, it takes real guts to go for the eco here and give SK 15 and then try to pull a 4-round comeback on the CT side. I mean, that's not easy.
That's not easy, but sometimes you just have to sweater that, you just have to swallow that bitter pill. And that's what they do. I mean, I think it's fairly evident that Mousesports need all kinds of utility and weaponry to be able to deal with SK on this T side. They haven't really found much of anything from half buys and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, playing for overtime might be your only hope at this point.
Yeah, this is kind of what we said, right? You know, Mousesports, yes, they're leading, they're doing great, but SK T-side Cobble, SK comebacks, you know, it's never off the cards here for this Brazilian roster.
Seemingly, like, no matter how you put it or what kind of scenario or situation you put SK in, it feels like you can always find a reasonable explanation as to why they're going to come back and win.
Yeah. Such an incredible team.
Yeah, just
they're showing us why.
Yeah, it's borderline absurd, actually, how good they are. Well, we're going to see a fairly healthy buy here. Double ops coming out from Mousesports. But look at the tempo here from Fur. Well, it's staggered by a Molotov. Doesn't want to run through that. But yeah, double ops set up on the side of Mouse. I was about to say they had a fair amount of Molotovs, but they've all gone out already. Oh, it's Chris. The double off of the pop flash from Stiko. Very well done, but SK responds as well.
Stiko gives away his position, and Cold Zero comes out of the smoke just in time. He could have got that shot with the player up on long fall and backed off. So now Fur can come through the drop down and catch out Oscar, and Sunny's all that remains. Mousesports, they started off with 2 kills, but they've ended with just 1 man, Sunny. The lone Finn has to get back into the site, but Fur has his number. He has the drop down. Making a bit of noise, but it doesn't seem like Sunny's realised that. He's still watching the left side as he checks the corner. Fur now knows he's here. Sunny gets the kill, but at the cost of 95 health.
The benefit here is, though, both ops and play from SK. So HP at this matter is completely irrelevant for Sunny. He's going to pick up the AK as well, gives him that 1-tap potential. Oh, spots have fallen nearly down to him as well. But in the end, SK prevail, and they're going to bring us into a 3rd map.
Not too much surprise with that, especially after, you know, seeing how this veto is going. Cobblestone, a map that we know Mousesports aren't, you know, they don't play it the most, I guess you could say.
They're not world beaters on it.
Not at all. But going to Inferno now, you know, Vendetta, I have a lot of questions. You know, I'm sure you have some too, because this is a map that SK has been notoriously inconsistent on. You know, high skill ceiling, but not always able to get victories on this map. Yeah. And you know, going into this one, where is it going now?
It's really tough to see, honestly. I think obviously this is the kind of map where individuals from Mousesports side, if they go off, can create an amazing amount of momentum for Mousesports. It can also help them to set the pace early. I think if we see a scenario where Mousesports get off to, you know, a 5-0 start, regardless of what side really, that could be enough for them to set the tone and get a really good first half, and that might be all they need. SK can't really afford to make the same kind of mistakes they made on Mirage. I think that's going to be too easy to punish for Mousesports. So it's really interesting to see. To me, it's going to come down to what kind of SK we see on Inferno. Is it going to be the inconsistent, sloppy SK, or is it going to be, as you said, the high ceiling SK that come to play?
Yeah, I mean, lots of questions here, but one thing we can take into account is Mouse are looking good, coming into this game. It's a couple of sloppy rounds on that second half that kind of loses them the match, or not the match, but the map.
Yep.
But assuming they are a little more consistent on these anti-ecos and anti-force buys, maybe Mousesports can clinch a win here over SK. I'm sure it'll be a close matchup no matter what happens. But I mean, Inferno, a map I would say where force buys aren't as easy to get done as you can on Cobble, right? Look at the control SK were given on Cobblestone on this T side. They were just able to completely run rampant in terms of getting that drop control. Great force of rotations from Mousesports, making them give up B by sending all that presence up through A long. We saw that one round with the pistols. Good map from SK, but yeah, moving to Inferno, a lot of questions. Not really sure how this is going to go.
No, that's the exciting part of it as well. In all honesty, going into a third map this is kind of all you can hope for. A very open match in that sense.
Yeah, and I think Stiko here on the screen now, one of the players that really has impressed me so far since joining this roster. He looked great in Hellraisers, but a lot of people questioned his pickup to Mousesports. Obviously, a team full of just insane aimers and insane individual players, and a lot of people going, well, Stiko, does he really fit that
bill?
Team? Yeah, is he an insane individual player? And I'd say he's so far proven to be a great addition to this team, not only in terms of tactically and how he plays and helps out the team, but also he's showing up far more than I expected in terms of individual prowess.
Yeah, I think obviously he doesn't necessarily land in the same category as someone like Sunny or Oscar, for instance, in terms of just raw fragging power, but he's kind of a stabilizing point within the lineup, and I think every team needs that kind of a player. So, I mean, there is a reason why you see Mousesports having done better, obviously, with this kind of lineup than in the past before Stiko came in. And even though his presence might not always be felt on the scoreboard, he definitely does his part to make sure that his teammates are successful.
Well, it certainly was felt on the scoreboard this map. 20 kills for the man himself, despite losing that one. Obviously, Fallen and Cold Zero, top of the board as you would expect. Cold even dropped 30 kills in Mirage, where his entire team really weren't able to hold up to the same level. And I mean,
funnily enough, actually, like the majority of Cold Zero's kills came in the first half. I think it was actually quite a bit above 20 before we swapped sides. So definitely see Fallen making the step up in that second half with his op and played a pretty vital role in that force buy we saw coming out of them when they pretty much could only afford an op and an M4. On their side, him and Bolts opening up those two frags. That's everything they needed to kind of get a grasp on the game again.
Let's see if they can get a grasp on the game in Inferno. That's our third and final map for this best of 3 series. We'll be right back after this short break.
Bet online esports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
Anything You still always a monster, Tom!
Bet, online esports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
Welcome back to the third map here between Mousesports and SK. We're moving to Inferno, the classic final map of all good best of three series, and this certainly has been a stunner so far. Obviously, moving into this one, there's a lot of question marks in the sense that both these teams are inconsistent on this map. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but I'm going to. Where's this going?
Well, okay, I'm gonna have to, just assume that both teams are gonna play fairly up towards their normal level, and with that, I'm gonna side with SK. I think we've seen silly mistakes from both teams in the two previous maps, but the fact that I've gone through this best of 3 series so far, feeling like SK have played fairly sloppy, but they've been within a shot of potentially closing it out 2-0. That's really what's left with me right now. It felt like they could have been one Mirage. They dropped a couple of unnecessary rounds.
Yeah.
Made some uncharacteristic mistakes. On Cobble, it didn't really feel like they played that well, but they still managed to win 16-11, which is fairly comfortable considering they split pistols and whatnot. It's hard to go against SK. That's really just what it comes down to.
Oh, I'll pick Mousesports then, just to
All
try
right,
and
yeah,
spice
just
up this
get-
test.
get a split here.
Get something interesting going. I
That's
mean,
fair enough.
Yeah, it's a complete coin flip, to be honest. At this point, it's who shows up at the end of the day. Because both these teams, if we look at the wins of recent wins of Mousesports on this exact map, they've taken it versus Heroic and Vega Squadron. They've not knocked out any top teams on this, apart from Virtus Pro, which again, is a big question mark in and of itself.
And before that, they had a narrow loss to Astralis, but how good are Astralis with this new related release? It's an online match in addition. And before that, you have to go back to the ECS finals versus FaZe, which was obviously, an incredible finals, and they lost in OT there. So you don't really know what to make of their Inferno, but much of the same can be said for SK, right?
Definitely.
Like they go pretty much like from every matchup they have. They've played Cloud9 something insane like 5 times on Inferno the last 1.5 months, I think, and they've just been trading wins, more or less. And sometimes they get absolutely battered. You casted one game they had in WSG where they just got absolutely stomped,
16-2,
and then in the same qualifier they come back when 16-5. A day later. So there's no average really.
There's no consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the issue. That's what we've been talking about while we've been off air. There's no consistency for these teams, and it's hard to really bank on either one consistently taking it. Obviously, SK have more games played in Inferno, so I'm expecting to be very confident coming into this one and knowing, on paper they are the better team. That's undoubtable. Not only have Mousesports not had the same results of SK, but they don't have the same caliber of players, right? We have some of the best players in the world on this team, whereas Mousesports obviously very, very strong individually, but not quite the level. However, that still doesn't mean a thing because we're 1-1 and we're into the final map, so anything can happen here. Ninth round going to be pretty important. That will be SK's, probably going with the CT side, I can imagine.
I would imagine, but they did throw us for a bit of a loop with the CT side pick on Cobble. To be fair, that did pan out very well for them.
I mean, they had a struggle on the first time. Oh no, they got 6 rounds. Nine rounds, and then Mousesports got pistol. So actually, to be honest, 9 round CT is pretty good on Cobble.
Definitely is.
Especially when they took it 16-11. So yeah, definitely, you would expect CT, but I won't question their pick this time. Whatever happens, Yeah,
and
the best team in the world.
And as you mentioned, they have more maps played on Inferno than Mousesports, and I guess there is something to be said of having the confidence to even though you're showing inconsistent results on it, to constantly go back to a map. Because they've clearly obviously put a lot of work into it, so they probably have a good idea of what they want to do in terms of what they need to change when they're losing games and so on. And they seeming obviously with how many games they've been able to trade back and forth in terms of losing and then going on to winning again, they seem to make the correct adjustments in time. Obviously, they're not only going to have one shot at this versus Mousesports, so needs to be the right one.
Well, let's see. We're into the pistol here. Mousesports fast into the apartments, and Cold Zero's already opened up. He's taken down 1. Bolts will follow short, and now Mousesports left to 3 players. Luckily enough, they're grouped up towards B. SK 2 men here. Fallen's going to take a bit of a fight, but he gets smoked out of position. Third dinked as well in the coffins, but he's still going to re-peek into this. This is a ballsy peek, and Oski's going to get very, very close. So he finds that frag. Fallen aggressive through the smoke is traded after 1, and with Oski's teammate falling, and the bomb still dropped, he needs to grab that before the smoke fades. Goes for it, Bolt's tag, but wow, Oscar not even trying to go for this one. Finally will. Taco's dead, but he's being wrapped from coffins. Cold Zero coming in from the backlines. Will Oscar realise? Turns back towards Banana, and if he pushes down here, he's got A site for free at the moment.
He does. Cold Zero barely missing him as he turns the corner, but it seems like Bolts has snipped out what might be just around the corner.
Bomb can go down though. 3 kills, looking for the ace here. I think he's going to be spotted or at least heard at this point. No rotation? There it is. Cold Zero is going to move off of B. So they know what's happening now. Oscar, not going to expect Bolts to already be in position. That's a nice off angle as well.
I was about to say that's a really weird angle to take.
Well, it's great. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's just obviously a tiny bit risky because he decides to take the challenge way before Cold Zero is in any position to actually get a trade. But yeah, with that kind of a strange off angle, you kind of have to expect Bolts to win it out. So overall, pretty solid round from SK. And I think the idea behind Fur constantly re-peeking there, even though he had been digged down to 15 HP, was simply just to give Fallen enough time to run through that smoke. And he did manage to get a trade frag for it. It does stop Mousesports a bit in their tracks. And then obviously Coldzera finding a lucky connection through the smoke onto the bomb carrier. That never hurts. So SK going to get off to a great start, winning that pistol.
I like this from Mouse.
Yeah, they're going to try to buy up in that third round. Obviously, getting a bomb plant does wonders for your economy. And yesterday we saw versus SK MVP versus SK Gaming that SK were very aware of the fact that a third round buying could be an opportunity when MVP didn't get a bomb plant but still decided to do clean eco.
Yeah,
and they pretty much opted to go with rifles pretty immediately. This time they have almost exclusively SMGs, and all of the SMGs are going to find their kills. It's a lot of money racked up, but now the question comes in if they're actually going to decide to invest into rifles, because that's what's going to be coming up against them.
This is the risk reward. Coldzera's on the AWP, so he drops.
Is he actually going to drop that off? Nobody died, obviously, so...
Yeah, so you just upgraded one MP9 to an AWP, so it gives you that star factor of just being able to get a pick and turn it into a 5-on-4 straight away. He's got that mid spawn, and I think that had a big influence as to why he's going for the investment.
Oh,
apparently not.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like you have the right idea.
For the pick.
Yeah, exactly. You get one upgraded weapon, that's kind of going to be your leading point. If you come out facing with an op, giving that kind of up to Mousesports, that are going to assume you've bought up.
And not only that, but three rounds in, you're not going to expect the AWP, and also now you're depending a hell of a lot on these SMGs to get kills, and that's just not reliable because Sunny's just walked into B. 2 kills for free, make it 3. Mousesports have the site. And the bomb can go down here as SK. I don't even think they're going to look at rotations at this point. Coldzera's already running back towards the other side of the map.
Yeah, thought the better of that. And Mousesports, they have a great opportunity to actually go for a bit of a hunt here. Obviously, they don't know that Cold has picked up an op, though, so I don't think it's too likely that we're going to see too much of a chase from Mousesports here, because it's not worth it for them to give up any sort of AK for any SMG. But obviously, the problem that SK find themselves in right now is the fact that because they have bought into this, it's not necessarily a freebie round because it's round 3. They haven't had that additional round to kind of really stack up their economy.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be the greatest of rounds coming up. And obviously Coldzera did fully invest, so he's potentially looking at a double eco if they were to fall in the next round, regardless of what he does. So awkward situation for SK here. And again, I think they would have been better served having Coldzera be way more aggressive and assertive with that off to kind of put a bit of fear into Mousesports and maybe have them play a little bit slower, allowing for multiple opportunities for SK to actually just get picks. That's not the case. Coldzera, again, with a pretty decent spawn towards mid, so we'll see if he actually wants to take the challenge. The only problem this time, though, is going to be potentially facing Oscar on the other end. No easy task.
Well, let's see if Oscar expects this AWP coming into this round, because again, still not seen, not faced, no shots fired. And again, the smoke to mid. Coldzera doesn't want to challenge it once again. Rops will go quickly to the apartment, so Mousesports look at taking early map control. He's going to wait for Stiko to get in position so they can at least split this together. And SK not contesting towards this part of the map. They have Taco at the end of the hallway, but he's actually dropped into the pit, so SK already setting up fairly passive. Considering again they have this AWP wrapping towards long, they can easily put Bolts in a position to rotate. You have enough members of on this A site, even if you only have 2 men there, the AWP will essentially be good enough to get a pick and fall back, and that's the kind of position Cold's playing. So Mousesports take top banana control. SK giving a lot of the map away for free to Mousesports, but the plus side of that is they save a lot of utility. So look at the amount of mollies we have in play.
Yeah, that's going to play a massive part. 50 seconds on the clock already, and if you have 2 Molotovs, that's a significant amount of time that just completely makes it impossible for Mousesports to make it through. Cheeky boost here to spot over the smoke. Sunny's not going to spot anything though. I say decline or descend, but Chris J,
they saw him on the peak. Mer's going to catch the kill on the trade, but Sunny shoots as the smoke blooms, so Mousesports back in control. 4 on 3, and Oscar, was that a shot through the smoke? Very possibly. He might have climbed up on top of the box though, but he's got bolts either way. And now with 2 players left, it seems like Cold is yet to see anyone with this AWP. I feel like this is just this is where you don't want to show the AWP, right? Because Mousesports are not going to expect it next round.
They definitely won't. They haven't seen Cold Share pretty much all game. And, well, a rough situation for Mousesports. And again, I think that the AWP is too passive, even though they have 2 rifles there to build up on their defense. I think an AWP would be better served in Banana. Just give it to Fallen, for instance. Let him have a go with it, playing aggressive in Banana. That's something he excels at. And I think it's just a much better position for an AWP to be in most cases, unless you're going to play extremely passive, or if the team you're playing against has a tendency of running towards A just from the get-go of games. But that's really hard to get a clear grasp on.
Next round, I want to see him peak. Whether it's Banana, whether it's Apps, whether it's mid, he needs to do something, right? Because not only is the onus on him now to get a pick, because his team doesn't have a lot of money, but also they don't know he's going to have it, they wouldn't expect it. But he throws it over to Fallen instead.
See, this is the weird thing to me, because this is his 3rd mid spawn. Well, now Fallen has the same spawn as Cold had.
He's not going for it, though.
Fallen's going to go for an A-hole speak. So I guess we're still going to see aggression from the AWP, which can definitely catch Mousesports off guard. But I'm confused as to why now is the time that they feel they should change it up and drop it to Fallen. Why wouldn't that be something they did in the previous round?
Yeah, I'd love to hear the thought on why. I'd love to know that, because there's a lot of questions right now on how SK have been playing this, but Mousesports have been good so far on this T side. We do have these double halls set up, bit of a wall bang. Won't connect. Actually, single halls. Taco's already fallen out early on, but Fallen's posted. They won't know it's there, and there's the pick. Finally, he opens things up, and SK sitting in the driving seat.
Yeah, and that's well, I guess surprise. There's an AWP in the hands of an SK
We've had
player.
it for 4 rounds.
Yeah. Well, there he goes. Regardless, well, Mousesports decided that they want none of Fallen's AWP business, but they're going to run into Bolts and Fur on that B bomb site. Fur going to go on the aggressive, gets caught up by Oscar, hiding around the corner. Oscar actually going to find Bolts as well. There is a rotation in here from Fallen, but smokes are down. So, smoke fades. That's an opportunity lost from Fallen. It's also down 6 HP.
Yeah, that was a really big peak there. If he gets shot, then SK are in a 2v2 on the retake, and Mousesports have pulled it back from a 2-on-5. In fact, now they're in a 2-on-2. Oscar's caught Cold Zero coming from the back lines, and Fallen's still low on that AWP. This is not good for SK. They had a 5-on-2 take into account. Stiko has the cross, and Fallen's going to hit the shot faster on the trigger, as now Oscar is in a 1v2 himself. Taco coming from CT, Fallen wrapping back up coffins, but he's going to hear it, or see it at the very least. Fallen goes for the fight. Oscar gets away with a kill, looking for the ace now. He's the one that's low. 10 points of health, baiting out the shot. Taco sticks the bomb. Will Oscar know? I think he's realised. Yes, he gets it! And Oscar finds the ace in a 2-on-5 to win Mousesports the round.
I was starting to get real worried for Oscar there, because I think the shot that he fired off covered the sound of the defuse from Taco. It was just a really unfortunate happening for him. But yeah, he thinks the better of it and goes in for the repick just at the end of it. That was extremely close. But Mousesports, once again, just like a Mirage, managing to fight their way back from a deficit there. Bolts and Fur initially doing such a good job of finding those 2 first kills on the B bomb side after Fallen opens things up on Rops and A-halls. That should have been around SK. Should have had. Can question whether or not it was the right move from Fur there to push even further aggressively. But regardless, Mousesports get off to a great start. It's a broke SK, and Oscar already finding Fallen.
Yeah, that scout removed from Banana. So for playing position, we saw MVP utilise quite a lot on Inferno as well.
Yeah.
On top of the sandbag with a smoke as well. But Mousesports expecting it apparently. Double nade up with a molly. That was certainly
dealt with. Oh, this is a bit of a freebie round. It should be for Mousesports, obviously, considering the economy of SK. The weird thing for SK in this scenario is the fact that they've been doing a pretty good job of just committing to saving a lot of weapons when they've decided to buy up, but it does leave them with a very uneven economy. So it's going to take a longer time for SK to have 5 players on their side who are properly bought up. And obviously, that can spell issues. For instance, Taco in this kind of situation right now is towards the right bomb site. But if, obviously if Mousesports are able to either rotate around towards that A bomb site, the Maximin is going to be so useless when it has to commit to long range. Not going to do any damage at all. And luckily for him, though, it seems like Mousesports want to make their entry with the bomb towards B. Oh, no, there he goes. That Mag Fear strikes fear into anyone's heart.
Yeah, not going to expect them to push into that again. But Cold Zero's on the site. They need to clear him out. He's not shooting. He's waiting for them to come into the site. I feel like he could have potentially waited for the bomb, but with Stiko so open and the kill so free, of course he's going to take that frag. Taco now looking to hold on to this saved AK that he got from killing Sunny earlier on in the round.
Yeah. But very smart, very smartly played, or very well played by Mousesports there as well, because the second Taco gets a frag on that B bomb site, there's 2 remaining players on SK. So worst case scenario, you run into a solo player on A, and worst case, if you commit to B, there could be a potential stag. You're also having to deal with the Mag 7 that can kind of just, well, kind of ignore the fact that you need to stand still. You can jump. You can do so many things that makes it awkward for you to clear him out from an angle or actually get him down before he just lands that one lucky connection that just removes the player completely.
And the alternative is, you know, if they walk into A and there's another player there, chances are they don't have a Mag 7 as well. Chances are they have a pistol. So you know, we've seen a Scout on Fallen, we've seen a Mag 7 on Taco. Everyone else is likely to be on pistols here in this situation, so let's walk into the pistol. Or an unstacked bomb site, as you say. But
maybe another surprise op.
Yeah, you never know. Cold Zero's just sitting there, ready and
Sitting up
waiting. He's actually bought an auto sniper this time. No.
Yeah, that would have been something. If he magically finds the money for it, we're gonna have to, investigate the demo afterwards.
I mean, Stiko had it on T side, so on
Cobble,
Cobblestone. That actually got a kill as well, but they threw it away right after he changed that out. Fair enough.
Well, we're gonna see rifles finally across the board on the side of SK Gaming, and apart from Cold Zero, they're gonna have a healthy amount of utility as well. And in the first part, we saw SK doing a really good job of just playing really passive, not really giving away any sort of utility, and making it potentially very hard for Mousesports to actually make their way into a bomb site. Then in that round, they kind of got saved by the fact that Sunny just made his way through his smoke and found 3 kills within the span of 5 seconds. And obviously, that's not something you can rely on if you're Mousesports over the course of the game.
Nor for SK to line up that well.
Yeah. So, well, for now, still sticking true to this mantra. And I mean, we know how effective it can be. If you want to go back to the major finals with Cloud9 and FaZe, what really stumped FaZe completely was the fact that they weren't able to force any utility out of Cloud9's hands on that Inferno game, which pretty much made any sort of execute late into rounds impossible. And for right now, utilities have started to go out. Still a smoke and 3 mollies on the side of SK with 40 seconds left. So they're reaching that critical territory where Mousesports are going to have a really, really rough time of actually getting into a bomb site unless they have a dedicated smoke here to just extinguish whatever Molotov comes out.
They're trying to get this pick onto Cold so they allow for the long wrap, or at least give them an option to run back to A if need be. But Cold Zero's on an off angle. He's caught Stiko. Now they've got to desperately run into the side. Boost up for Fur. Shot from Fallen though through the smoke, and he gets 1. Fur falls back, but they know he's in this position. They have a Molotov for the job, but they're not going to use it. Finally, it goes down, but after Fur finds 2 more kills. Chris J, last man up, no time for the round, and Fallen comes back in from the coffin. So sending Chris J to one of those exactly. SK Gaming get themselves to 3 rounds on this board. And Mousesports, still money to buy, but back and forth.
Back and forth it goes. And yeah, utility definitely helping out Mousesports, not really being able to get up on that bomb site. And as you said, the Molotov for new boxes being quite late, allowing for Fur to initially get 1 kill, and almost obviously following it up with the second one before he burns badly enough to move out of position. Well done by SK, and that should be a pretty big tell for Mousesports that they need to be more proactive at the start of rounds, not letting time run out that quickly. Sunny once more trying to make the same drop as he did in the first weapon round, and he's going to find success again. Not a double kill this time around, but he'll happily take out Fallen. Leaves Fur all by his lonesome. Still quite some time before any rotations come in here from SK. But Mousesports not willing to pick up the pace here, so Cold Zero making his way over towards B. No real committal from Mousesports either. Same kind of boost, and Fur actually finds the lower end of that totem pole.
I think they even spotted Sunny as well, because he didn't continue to spray as Sunny fell down.
Yep.
He just shot once at the body and luckily got that kill.
Educated guess.
Yeah, game sense is on point at the moment, but is their aim at least, as Mousesports are going to push up towards A. Stiko got a smoke on the molly, he throws a flashbang instead, wrong one.
Yep.
Martin.
There we go.
4v4 still. Time not too bad for Mousesports, but we've got a rotation back towards A in the form of first. Still that AWP sitting alone at the back of B. So if they get these kills on A, coldzera saves instantly. Saving AWP as always. But Mousesports are on the site, or at least Stiko is. Bolts doesn't realise it just yet, but Fur does. Kill coming out from him. Double man in the pit. This crossfire is going to be so good from SK. But Rops just hits a shot out of nowhere. Make it 2. Both headshots. Bolts and Taco fall. And coldzera, it's back to saving the AWP for another rainy day.
Yeah, it's same old for coldzera. Not being a part of the action, not really seeing a whole lot.
Poor guy. He's still top fragging as well.
Somehow, it doesn't feel like he's been... Well, I guess he did rack up quite a few MP9 kills that one into Eco, but he really hasn't been invited to too many frag parties in these buy rounds. But what a round for Mousesports to turn around there. Once Stiko goes down from the site,
you know,
for killing, yeah, exactly. At that point, they have no real way of getting into the bomb site. The crossfire and pitch should be more than enough to deal with that. So yeah, even though Sunny manages to find Furz for kind of peeks around the corner of Arch to see if he can keep tabs on what's going on from Mousesports side, I feel like the 2 remaining players on SK there and Pitch should be able to handle that. But just really good shooting from Rops to clutch out the round.
Yeah, so important. That's a star factor that we see on this Mousesports roster, right? You know, getting into situations where you shouldn't be winning, where you have a disadvantage, and where SK surely have the control, and then someone like Rops or Oscar can just come in and go tap tap, 2 players dead, you've got the site for free.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I wish I had that in my matchmaking games.
Yeah, same.
Either way, 5-3 up for Mousesports, and we do have SK piecing together this by Bolts on the Farmas, Taco on the CZ, and Fallen on the drop door from coldzera.
It really isn't a pretty buy from SK, and I feel like I've been saying that far too often so far. They've completely spent up any sort of piggyback savings they've had, and what they have to show for it isn't too impressive. Almost 0 utility, everything is pretty much stacked up on Fur. Outside of that, FAMAS, CZ. So, definite opportunity here for Mousesports to take a kind of... Or will go into warp speed and create some distance between themselves.
And SK really not contesting anything at this point. Again, they've been very passive. They've got a player up in apps, but I mean, other than that, they're giving Mousesports all the room they want. And we already know that SK is so great at controlling this banana. Obviously, they need the utility to do so, but Fur has a full set. Fallen had a little bit more as well because he got dropped the AWP. He didn't buy it. So really, I'm surprised to see SK give Mousesports this room. Sunny's not contested down towards B on his own. And coldzera back in this off angle. Stiko died from this exact position before. Will he expect it? Rops will open up onto Bolts in the meantime in apps. Stiko finally coming round, but coldzera again, he wins that duel. A 4-on-3 now. Mousesports trying to get onto the site, and they found Taco to at least equalise the player advantage. But on down, SK still well equipped in terms of utility and kits. They're going to go for the retake.
Yeah, still going to be hard though. You can see 2 smokes up for Mousesports here. Can block out this archway for pretty much the entirety of the afterplan. Boost coming in from SK though. Fallen peering over, does find Oscar. That's a great pick from SK, and that's going to give the opportunity they need. Nice flash from Chris J. Flashes 3 players, not able to find the frag though.
There it is, Fallen's dead. And that's your drop. Sunny even follows up from short. Now Mousesports can just play passive. No reason to peek. The time's too low, and coldzera, this isn't realistic. He's got to get the kill and run away, but Chris J doesn't want to face. There's the face. Too late. coldzera's run out of time, and at this point he's just trying to save that AWP. Sunny won't allow it. Long wrap around, and Mousesports, talking of round, another one on the board.
Very well played from Mousesports, and Chris as well, not getting too eager and too ahead of himself by re-peeking onto coldzera there. Because I could have very easily swung in a different direction if that were to happen. So even SK with some, you know, inventive stuff boosting up in that little corner doesn't net them around, and now they're going to be completely rogue. Finally, an eco coming out of them, honestly. But yeah, I'm very surprised by how passive of an approach SK are opting to take when they have so little utility, because it allows for Mousesports to set up for executes that are extremely difficult to hold. If Mousesports can cut off enough angles towards that quad side, then you know they're going to have the man advantage, they're going to have the firepower advantage, and there's no utility that really SK can use to set them up for beneficial trade flags.
It's nice to see Mousesports actually bought one SK on eco this time. These SMGs, we saw a bit of a mess up on Cobble.
Yeah.
This time is not the case. Sunny's found 2 entry frags, and Cross Chase followed up. Maybe they won't expect a 4th player here, but I was about to say it shouldn't be an issue. Maybe it will be. coldzera with a deagle.
Yeah.
And again, Mousesports, they just run back towards A where one player remains.
Yeah, they're being smart about this on Mousesports end. Not clearing the angle, still throwing a lot of nades for some reason, but still Oscar, in due time, will find Taco.
With the Deagle.
Why not? I mean, it's going to be all the space in the world for Rops to push forward and find Cold as he tries to rotate in. And a 7th round on the board for Mousesports. So yeah, we talked about this inconsistency with SK Gaming and how important it would be to see what kind of version of SK shows up. And so far, it's I'd say it's the sloppy version. They've been very uncharacteristically poor with their money management. Obviously, it's very tempting when you're able to hold on to a certain amount of weaponry from a previous round where you've had to save to kind of buy into that and see if you can break the economy of your opponent. But you kind of have to give up on that game of economic chicken at some point if you want to stabilize before the T side gets way too big of an advantage. And I think that's kind of where we're finding ourselves right now.
I was about to say, it's great, SK switching things up, going for some banana aggression, but they haven't pushed just yet. There it is, they've allowed Chris J to get all the way up, so even though they take control, it's at the cost of 1. SK, I don't like to harp on it, but not only has the AWP of Cold Zero been ridiculously passive, allowing Mousesports to get all the opening kills, but also, the banana control has been lackluster. This is the first round we even see, really, a sign of life on B from SK past, the choke point, but... It's a 1-for-1 trade. They don't try and push down. They just throw close Molotovs, and Mousesports, now they hold the control. Yeah, it's a 4v4, but they don't. That's fine for Mouse.
Yeah, they can definitely deal with that. I mean, it's a benefit on pretty much every map to be equal numbers when you trade evenly as a T side. They're going to use that space to take control over mid here. But yeah, you mentioned that it looks like Cold Zero getting caught out. Wanted to go for a bit of an off angle, but Stico shoulder peeking, getting enough information. It's going to net him the kill. Does get traded out by Taco, and Taco is aware of Robs' presence in apps. He's going to be able to fend him off for now.
Now the question is, does Mousesports commit here? Because they don't know where that second player is. Is it a 2A, A player 2B? It is 2A for now with Fallen there, and they're about to work that out. Sunny up on long, gets taken down, so Taco now in the pit, spots the head of Rops, he won't be ready for it. Oscar pushes up, but Taco runs out of ammo. That's so unlucky. Damage to both players, but Fallen has the exact thing to finish off the job. A UMP, as he's just going to run and go, knowing the time is low, he just needs 1 kill here. There it is, Rops is dead, Oscar's so low as well. Fallen should just be able to find this final shot, even with the AWP being in play, but he doesn't see him. Oh! Turns back in time and he'll find the frag, but I got close.
I'm curious as to what Oscar was waiting for. Like, yeah, he's expecting a rotation, but Fallen was extremely close up on bomb site.
I think it's because Fallen didn't rush the site. Oscar's thinking, okay, maybe Fallen's just trying to bait me with that kill, right? He gets the kill on short, and then the second player's already just going to push up long, while Oscar's attention is up on Fallen potentially.
It could very well be. Still, though. Also a golden opportunity for Mousesports once again to break the economy of SK. They do manage to keep the numbers so low that SK doesn't really have any bank to speak of. And on their end, they still have enough money to buy up.
Yeah, so, again, like the most effective rounds for SK across this map and across previous as well, it's been these like pistol forces, these UMP rounds where they don't really have everything to play with, and Mousesports kind of underestimate them, and then SK seem to somehow get on top.
Yeah. For right now, a healthy amount of utility on the SK Gaming side for once. Hasn't really been too many instances of that, and I think that's partly why we haven't seen too much of the aggressive banana, I guess, fights, as you would see fighting for banana control a lot of the time.
1-0 gets spotted going on top of the apps. Rops not choosing to wallbang, choosing to just stay silent. I like to see Rops with his lurk roll. He plays the apps very well, similar to how he plays Palace and Mirage, in the sense that he's very good at catching these rotations and these players out of position when Mousesports get picks on the other side of the map, and he can rely on his team to do that. He can rely on these opening kills from Sunny, from Chris J, and from Oscar as well. But maybe Rops wants the opening kill himself this time. He's going to walk on out. Taco's hurt below him. Will he think that's Cold Zero though? Does he know Cold Zero is still up on top of the balcony? Because no one's holding his position right now. Cold Zero is going to throw a nade. That will signify everything to Rops.
And with the sound cues given from Taco as well, he doesn't have to, care anything about Taco's presence or whoever it is, he thinks is downstairs. He doesn't have to worry about that. Sunny on the other end, he's putting it to CT spawn.
Wow. Oscar will open up onto Fallen in the meantime. Sunny dead in the spawn, and Rops just backs off. With all the information, he doesn't play off the back of it. He tries to help his team out on B, but it's too little and too late. Fur has done a massive job. And with 10 seconds left, Rops has to hold on to his gun. Chicken blocking the door. I've not seen that before. If that gets him killed, oh my god. A chicken blocking the door just got Robs killed.
Love to see it. Chicken playing its purpose. I remember the first time we saw in a pro game that a chicken actually messed up a smoke because the smoke randomly hit it as it would throw over. I think it was MBK who was the unfortunate player who had that happen to him. Literally, like it bounced like an extra step because it hit a chicken.
Really?
Yeah, instead of landing in the spot it was meant to.
That's unlucky. Did it have an effect, or was
it
just...
no, the smoke was like incorrect.
Got someone killed?
I can't remember if they actually lost a round off of it, but obviously it's something that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Which is like a reason why I've never seen the purpose of having chickens running around on any map.
I mean, you can actually... I saw a video of someone using chicken as a bait, because if you run towards a chicken, sometimes it will run away and squeak.
Yeah.
And so I saw someone holding Top Banana behind that new wall, right?
Yeah.
The wall at Top Banana, and a chicken ran away and ran down Banana towards him, and so he knew that someone was at car because of that, and he got a kill. So, I mean...
incredible.
You know, it's very rare, but it happens.
Yeah. There's no justification for having them in the game.
No, absolutely not. Well, but you can press E on them and they can follow you.
That's true. You can create an army of chickens. And speaking of an army, there's one rushing down mid. Oscar finds the first frag onto Taco, though, but even trades going back and forth. Goldzera getting Oscar really low, but actually goes for the re-pick and finds him as well. Daredevil enough to go for Fallen as well. Not going to find the kill, though, but that does give the information as to where the last standing SK player is. And quick round, to say the least.
I was about to say, so we have two forms of SK on Inferno. We have the passive, give all the control to Mousesports and don't have any information, or we have the 5-man rush mid. There's no in between. And I think that's what SK is missing. They're missing the filling to the sandwich, you know? They've got the bread, they've just not got anything in it.
Yeah.
It's a bread sandwich. 5 rounds for SK Gaming, though. 2 CZs on this bite. Far from optimal. Mousesports, again, maybe misreading this one. Oh, do they not have the money themselves, actually? Because they've got an MP7. Yeah, they don't have the money, so it's not misread. It's an MP7 on Chris J. Still can get the job done, definitely, but a bit of a limiting factor. However, 8 rounds certainly isn't. They are leading this one heavily.
Again, 3 players set up on Banana. Last time this didn't pan out. And Sunny just kind of fade away. Jump shot onto Fallen.
As you do.
With those flashes coming in from the back of Sunny, he's not even going to be able to get a trade. Great start for them. And SK, obviously, they won the 2 previous round before Mousesports managed to find an answer. But as a result of all of this, their economy definitely not set in stone. Oh, Sunny, hello. Only got 3 HP.
Oh, Rob's caught out in apps as well. Steve will catch Goldzera on long this time, so finally the duel won by him, and he'll follow up onto Taco. So 2 entries towards A. Both players left on B. Oscar going to hit that rotate bolt. Caught out of position. Bit sloppy, but he gets the frag. Now knowing Fur is the last B player alive, I mean, do you save here? I assume you save, but...
You don't really have much of a choice, even though it's kind of a similar situation for so Cold find themselves at the start of the game. Like, you're not going to be able to buy into this in the next round, or you shouldn't. Well, I guess they should. It's going to be the last round of the half. But, at the start, you don't necessarily buy into it because you saved that one weapon, but the alternative isn't really any better.
I feel like, this is important for Mouse to get rid of this gun because they know SK's money is low, but their money's not in a great spot anyway.
Yeah.
If they continue to chase and they lose another member, they may struggle just a little bit, for that utility or maybe the AWP if they lose it.
Yeah, and I think it's smarter of Mousesports just to hold on to what they have. Having one rifle to go up against when you know the rest of them aren't necessarily going to be able to invest pretty much anything into the final round, then you can live with that. And so just make sure that you have all the utility. You know that that's not going to be a luxury SK has. So, if you have all the nades in the world, you can force that utility from SK's side early on and still have enough to have a really, really solid execute. And we've seen Mousesports being able to do so multiple times so far.
9-5 up, and Mousesports looking to find double digits for the half. Sunny's aggro towards mid. This time SK don't challenge it, but smoke goes down. Oscar, of course, tries to run through it. Does think twice about that one, though. And Mousesports already back in the apps, back in mid. Not too much presence in Banana, but that's the same story for SK, who've already used most of their utility. They've got a smoke left on B and a couple of flashbangs. But I mean, that's the same for both sides of the map. A smoke on either half. Probably not equipped very well at this point.
Yeah, still 1 minute and 20 left in the round. So that's utility. It's going to be used pretty rapidly. So Taco dishes out his smoke and then leaves Fallen with the only one left on the side of SK. Still, a healthy amount of flashbangs at least, so they could set up for some peeks for each other. Flash into mid. Not going to find anything, but similar approach from Mousesports once more, getting that mid control late into the round.
And just lurking round A with both Stiko and Rops.
Question is whether or not they're going to start showing aggression from either the A or the B bomb side. Obviously, bomb is towards that B area. Stiko throwing out the same nade as he has done every time he's been in mid. What? Look in the wrong direction, but still manages to right his wrongs. That's bolts going down. Taco, well, he's also going to get the drop on Rofs, but Rofs, doesn't want to be any worse than his teammate. With that, that's 2 openings on that A bomb site. Might actually pull the rotation back from them, but no. Mousesports, they're going to commit to that B bomb site, and that's Fur with only rifle in play.
If they lose this round because of that commitment, it's very dangerous. They had low time, so you can somewhat justify, but they could have rotated, and they should have rotated. First done it. 7 seconds left. There's a player on the A site. They need to plant right now. I don't know if they got it in time. I think they're too slow. I think SK won the round. Big mistakes from Mousesports. I see why they committed. They had low time. I'd love to know exactly how much time they had, however, because I don't know if they had time to go towards A.
They definitely had time to go towards A once they find the first kill.
Yeah, but I mean, at the point where they walked into B, could they have gone A?
Oh, no. At that point, they were committed to it. They would have had to go on the second they find the frags, really, on the SK players who go aggressive on A. But yeah, it's unfortunate because obviously Fur is the one guy with the rifle on that side, but then again, he saved it from the previous round. They know Fur is a B player. So, put one-on-one together, you kind of... I think it's fair to expect Fur to play that bomb side at that point.
And I think Cold was the last alive hiding on A, so actually the story of this entire first half is Cold hiding on the side of the map. He won a round because of it, so shout out to that, I guess.
Pacifist award.
Yeah. Saving AWPs, saving rounds, but they're going to need a lot more on this T side now because we've got pistol round ahead of us, 2 bits of utility, or 2 sets of utility on SK at least, and a pick as well going their way. Chris J not been spotted just yet, so this off angle could surprise SK.
Sunny desperate for a pick right there. Constantly re-peeking. That's going to be the end of him. It does do solid damage. Chris on the other end, not able to do a single point of it as he gets taken out of Banana. Rops has made a rotation into the B-bomb site though, so there is still defense to be mounted here. You can see a second player from Mousesports as well, also joining the fray. And SK, well, not committing just yet.
Yeah,
Fallen seems very weird of some sort of a backstab here being a potential. Well, Cold Zero, in the meantime, has been hanging around in apartments, hasn't really seen anything, so that might spark some interest from SK to go towards A.
Yeah, Mousesports, I think they've worked it out somewhat. They begin a rotation of Stiko, but Osco gets a kill. Again, the USP with no silencer. I do love it. He does get one, but can't quite finish off the low HP bolts. Now going to wrap towards the site, spots 2 more. He knows there's 3 players here now, so he knows there's a full commitment. His entire team can rotate safely. Now Mousesports in a 3-on-2 retake. Sorry, Sunny's actually already found a kill up through long. So SK in a bit of a compromising spot here. Fur and Cold, not quite a crossfire, but they can peek together at the very least as these players begin to filter their way up short. Oscar leading the charge here with this USP. Spots Fur as well, dinked in the process. So nice shot from Fur. Can he follow up or can Cold at the very least? Someone needs to. There's Cold, 2 shots, 2 kills. Back for the third. Stiko full HP and Cold Zero can't quite find that final headshot. He's just spamming away, but Stiko does it. 4 frags.
No kit.
No kit. I don't think he's got it.
No, he doesn't.
Oh my god, Cold Zero won the round.
Oof.
What a round from Cold at the back of the bed. 2 kills with that double tap.
Starts off the second half the way he ended the first one, saving rounds. This time a little bit more active, finding those 2 quick kills. Well, that's really bringing SK out of a really dark spot. Imagine if Mousesports pick up that pistol round, that potentially puts them on 12.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat.
I mean, that's exactly what SK needed, really. Somewhat of a confidence boost to the T-side, maybe. They need anything they can get, because Mousesports had a phenomenal T-side, and SK now need to do that and go 1 step above, or 1 round above in USA. Mousesports forcing up. Oscar on the scout, pistols on everyone else, but SK well equipped for this.
Well, we saw Cold Zero not willing to take those aggressive peeks once he picked up a sniper early on. Oscar showing no fear, already putting some damage into Fur. So, softened up target for the pistol players. You can see some movement here from Chris J. He knows someone's tagged, but he didn't know there were 4 players from SK waiting for him. Sunny's going to try his luck as well. And limited amount of damage done. Definitely not worthwhile the trade. So 3 men down already. Oscar goes as well. He has landed 2 tags though. Bolts and Fur are both low. So there is potential here for some of the Mousesports players to actually pick up a few kills. Tough task obviously though, with the smoke down, and it seems like they're just going to maintain their investment of the Kevlar. And PG 50 and 5-7.
Yeah, potential exits. Grab someone from SK with this damage done, as you say, but seems like the save is the safer option. Surprisingly enough for Mousesports, they can bring these pistols back into the next round, maybe try and catch a player off guard. But
yeah.
I mean,
considering the damage they've done, I think that it's a toss-up whether or not you might want to set yourself in a bit more an aggressive exit frag position.
I think it's more of a question of, do they know how much damage they've done specifically? They know they've landed a few shots, but a couple of shots were through smoke, and it can get lost in.
Even though there's a significant damage variable on the scout, you can be pretty safe that you've done around 70 damage. So at that point, it's 2 well-placed pistol shots, or not the tallest task in the world, but obviously very unlikely that SK are going to send their 2 lowest HP members out and about for a bit of an adventure on Inferno. But as you said, they bring those 2 pistols with head Kevlar into the 3rd round of the second half. So they do have an opportunity to find some weapons here, maybe. But again, we've seen rounds turn with less bought into it by teams. If you manage to find that first frag, not without taking too much damage, pick up an AK, things can really spiral out of control there.
Yeah, definitely. And again, if SK go forward with lots of SMGs, Mousesports will have full rifles, and we're going to have to see the question of, do SK continue with SMGs when it's 9-9? Is that a safe bet? And how they feel about that. They're probing on B right now, which Mousesports have left untouched. The question is, will they commit there? Because Fallen's already found a pick on A. That may open SK's eyes to this side of the map. It's all down to whether Bolts and Taco actually choose to go for the ballsy commitment, and then from there on work out that this site is completely empty. I think Bolts has already kind of guessed it. Yeah. Very common to go for a stack in these sort of rounds, and with no one peeking, if they get into this site, yeah, you can already see bomb rotating. SK are pretty confident.
Yeah. So sending in Taco with a MAC-10, he's expendable in this kind of situation, so even if they were running into a stack, they would have gotten information about it in due time. Well, 4-man stack now down to 3 as Gold Sierra finds 1 frag. And Mousesports not going to be able to do a whole lot. Robs can still hold on to his head Kevlar, which is going to be nice going into the buy round. Not really too much to do for Sunny and Chris J. They could have probably postured up in some aggressive exit positions once more, but they kind of seem content with sticking in pit. Actually, it's Robs is the most far forward player.
I do enjoy watching SK on these kind of rounds, because not only do they do this on CT, we saw this on Cobble, for example, but also on T, is when they're on these Anticos and they have SMGs, this is something I don't see a lot of teams do. They really put the SMGs in positions to succeed over the rifles. They specifically make sure the entry players of the SMGs, and I mean every time they run these rounds. It's not sometimes, Whereas you
it's not a random accident.
Yeah, right. Sometimes with some teams they will play to their role. So say you have a team that has 2 rifles on the entry fraggers, they'll just leave them on the entry fraggers and let them entry frag. Whereas SK will go, okay, we've got an SMG on Bolts, let's just send him in fast and let him just do what he wants. Yeah. I like to see how they use the SMGs and how they generate money in that sense, because a little bit of money, $600, it can go a long way. It can make a big difference later in the game.
It definitely does. So it could be that game-changing Molotov or smoke, or smoke flash combo, what have you. And SK actually taking a tactical pause here to kind of talk things through. And you mentioned the fact that going into this round, it's a big decision to make whether or not you want to invest into new rifles, because obviously that's going to deplete the bank you've just so very well or have done such a good job of building up at this point, or if you want to go for the ultimate greed play and hold on to as many SMGs as possible. And SK seem pretty confident in holding on to their SMGs for now.
Yeah,
so
this is like the middle ground. This is what most teams do in the sense that you keep 2, but you still have 3 rifles to do the damage.
You do have some firepower at least.
It's not completely limited, and they definitely have their work cut out for them. Sunny's already aggressive down banana. We never saw an SK player in this position once on their entire CT half, but Sunny's found it in the first buy round. Although SK, they've run up mid. Oscar's denied the first player. Taco getting shut down, and Oscar back in for more. Damage to 2 players. Fallen repeats. What a shot with the UMP. Now responded by Stico, who hits a great spray with the Famas, but how much more can he get done? He needs that player in apps to come out and help him, but he's flashed and smoked off. Rops needs to strike. Now he does with 2 kills. And Mousesports, 10 rounds to 9. They will take it back in their hands.
2 SMG kills to boot, actually, on Rops there, so even more money. Just really solidly done by Mousesports there. Stico's a little bit fortunate that they actually don't decide to go towards the quad side of the A bomb set there, because he actually gets stuck on a corner as he tries to make his way back during or while flashed. Instead, they run into Oscar, who does tremendous damage on 2 members of gets 1 kill and then does tremendous damage on the second one of SK, which allows for Stico to clean house.
Actually, out of all of this, SK have come out with a better buy in terms of rifles, because we have Lil and the UMP, but apparently that's enough. Sunny gets 1, and so much damage as well. Even though he goes down, the input he's had to this round is going to make a massive effect, because Bolts is on 10 HP. Everyone else except Cold Zero is hit enough, so this M4 is far more lethal now, and so are the Molotovs and HEs. The issue is SK can't commit just yet. The bombs still drop down low mid.
Well worth trade out.
Yeah.
Well, there's UMP. It's actually pretty brazen of Sunny to actually go down that aggressively into that position twice, and Oscar, desperate for information, just finds Fur waiting for him. Doesn't even get to fire a shot, and that is a bit of an issue.
It leaves just Chris J at the back of B, and he's only got a smoke for this, and it's not going out anytime soon. He's got his rifle ready. He holds the angle, off angle, of course, pillar. He's going to give away his position, gets 1 with it, but that's not enough. They're already down a man anyway. Rops, he's got no teammate to boost up here. He's just going to run through the smoke. Oh, he gets 2 kills. Rops, how has he done it? It's now just Cold Zero and a 1v2, and with a bomb down in the smoke, it's a risky push to make, but he'll go for it anyway. Rops on the other side, and of course he hits that. 3 kills and 11 rounds for Mousesports. Rops has done it.
Yeah. Smoke Warrior Rops coming through to save the round for Mousesports there. After Oscar a little bit brazenly peeks into Banana with no flashes being thrown for him, gets picked off by Fur. And that sets up SK for a prime position to take that B bomb site. And you can see Chris tries to do the best he can from his position, but only finding 1 frag. And that was the very tagged bolts already. So Mousesports were in a really good position until Rops just out of nowhere finds 2 players.
And MP7 back in the hands of Chris J again, despite SK having money to buy.
Yeah. And this time around, it's not due to the fact that he's lacking any sort of money. Still 2.7 in the bank. He hasn't bought up with full utility just yet. I'm expecting a Molotov and a Flash to join the fray as well.
It could be just saving money, similar to how you see teams on anti-ecos have 1 player just on a P250, knowing they're likely going to win the round, and that P250 player can pick up a gun off any of his dead teammates, Could be a similar decision. MP7's so cheap, it's, a risk-reward play. If you put Chris J in a passive position, maybe he can grab a rifle of a teammate who dies first.
Well, it is $1,700, and I'm never a big fan of just expecting yourself to win a round with how strong pistols can be in this game. Well, Chris J tries to do what Sunny did last round, but is stopped in his tracks immediately. So that investment doesn't pan out at all.
No.
It does do a pretty decent amount of damage onto bolts, I suppose. Taco as well, within that 1 headshot range, obviously, with the Colt. But it does spread Mousesports' defense quite thin as they rotate a second player over towards B. Actually, that's going to be the op on Oscar being posted up towards B, which alleviates Sunny from his duties, and he's going to join up with his fellow teammates on that A bomb site. So this is the right decision to make from Mousesports here. This is the strongest defense they could potentially set up.
Let's see what they can get done with it, though. Sunny will be the first line of defense on this long wrap, but the smoke is down very deep. And Oscar, he's fallen back a little more passive on B, so Mousesports going to be more scared because they aren't yet aware of full commitment with all 5 players. They're about to work that out very, very soon. Rops has a flash for this wide face, and this will be perfect because Fur's fully blind. There's the peek from Rops. 1 more. There it is. Bolt's dead. Cold Zero can trade with a P250, but he can't cross to get that gun because Stico's holding. Although I say that, he's fallen back to the back of the site. 1 for him. Can't follow up with the second, but we've got this rotation in, and it's not even needed. Sunny's doing damage. Bomb dropped. Time low, and Oscar's holding the angle. Mousesports have 12 rounds on the board. And this is just getting more and more out of control for SK. It has been too long since they picked up a round.
Yeah, 3 rounds in a row for Mousesports right now. And no money in the bank to speak of for SK. They're going to have to eco here. It's really unfortunate for the situation SK finds themselves in. Like, it's having Cold Syria and Pit there with the PT-50 is probably the worst player you could have had there. Obviously, everyone else on the SK side having weapons. If he has a Colt there, then Sunny probably dies in the first engagement. Fallen stays alive, and all of a sudden it's a 2v1 instead in favor of SK with a bomb plant most likely going down. And even if they were to lose that round, they would have had money to buy here. So things going Mousesports' way. And Chris J once more trying to be aggressive. They really seem to like this spot. This time the SMG is probably going to have a bit of a more impact, seeing how there's only one player with head armor on the side of SK. Unfortunately for Chris, though, the majority of SK have decided to go towards A. Now all 4 grouping up.
Yeah, Mousesports not playing Pit in this round as well, so they're switching the setup up. Oscar's just in the middle of the site with the AWP, so passive against these pistols. I like how Mousesports have reacted, knowing SK's economy is in a bit of an off position. Fallen dropping the bomb aggressively. This isn't Tai Lu here. Rops is going to follow up as well with a shot out of Taco trying to exit the apartments. And I mean, with Chris J already on the flank, this round's over. Cold Zero won't expect this, but even though he does, actually, Chris J will still hit the shot. And Mousesports 13-9. Standard anti-eco there, nothing to be too surprised at, but SK are going to be on the buy. So, I mean, this really is their last opportunity, their last proper opportunity, because even if they don't win this round, Mousesports take 14 and SK force that, surely.
Yeah, no, they have to. At that point, the only thing they got going for them is the lost round bonus, obviously. So they're able to get a pretty decent buy if that's the case. But yeah, they're giving Mousesports a lot of opportunities to get to match point so early on. It's definitely not optimal. Sunny again, just this banana aggression has been relentless, and they're not even shy about it either. You can tell SK are fully aware that somebody from Mousesports are up here. And there we go, gets punished for his brazen ways. And that leaves Chris J all by his lonesome. Let's see if Mousesports actually decide to go with the same solution as last time. So once Oscar makes his way up here by Banana, you might see a rotation off from Chris, but well, considering the pressure being put on Banana here now, might have to stick around.
Yeah, that depends if SK back off, and at the moment it doesn't look like that's the case. Chris J going to get 1, can't follow up, so 2 for 1 in the favour of SK right now, but Oscar still has the utility to contend with this banana play. And while Stiko's rotated round, I think you're going to be right in the sense that if SK don't commit with this, Stiko's going to wrap back, but that's not the case because they are pushing, and so is Oscar. He gets a shot with the AWP. Now back into a 3-on-3, equalise that man advantage that SK once had, and they go right back towards basic A. Stiko already begun his rotation, so Mousesports have read this so well.
Yeah. Fully on top of things here, and Rob's playing a very safe position here. This is almost always good for 1 kill, unless you get pre-spam through the wall. Stiko has been given the time as well to make his way onto the site, so can set up for a bit of a crossbar here, potentially a bait, as SK make their way up.
There's 2 men here. This will be enough for Mousesports. 20 seconds on the clock. Shots need to be hit, but they bait. Rops is going to be playing at the back of the site while Stiko takes the attention. And 2 kills from Rops and a follow-up from Martin will be 14 in for Mousesports. SK, as you said, they've got that loss bonus, but without a bomb plant vendetta, this money is a shambles.
Yeah, and now they're going to have to take a tactical pulse, the 3rd one actually of the game, so definitely the team under pressure here. Probably to talk things over whether or not they want to buy into this. The best they can do pretty much is, well, they can go, the extreme, the YOLO route, which would have been, buying up AKs, no head kev, very limited utility, or Galils with more utility and head armor, or UMPs. And we're seeing a bit of a mixture here for opting for the no head kev and an AK.
The thing is, even if they go for this kind of crazy aggressive buy and try and go for a fast play, let's think about how Mousesports have been controlling the map early on, right? Deep Molotovs and smokes in Banana, completely denying SK any presence there, even though we've seen the picks go the way of SK most of the time in the Banana. They're still contesting it on the Mousesports side. That's going to put SK off going for something very, very fast. Maybe they'll just go for a B rush, but I mean, Mousesports have the utility to contest this. If they expect that kind of play, I feel like we're just going to see a nade stack down B from Mousesports.
Well, as the words come out of your mouth, Mousesports listen. 3 players over towards that bomb site. Stiko might rotate back the second he pulls off this, or puts down the smoke. But yeah, as you mentioned, Mousesports have been so adamant about putting pressure on Banana, which is something we didn't really see a whole lot of from SK, which I think in part is due to their their money control, how they actually decided to force into, you know, saved weapons and that kind of stuff instead of allowing everyone on their side to have an equally good buy. But it's definitely put some fears into SK, and well, Robs is going to be able to deal with that pop flash coming out for Apps. 2 men down, coldzera and Taco out of the question. Robs follows it up with a third. Stiko around the corner as well. All's down to Bolts to prevent match points. Does find 2, but Oscar is there to trade. Match point for Mousesports.
The bait and switch from Stiko and Rops is so good on this A site. We saw it in the previous round where they had Rops at the back of the site and Stiko just playing that headshot angle on default, and now you have it there. Rops getting 3 kills out of Apps. They start to try and chase him down. Stiko wide peaks from the site. Just good timing, good communication from Mousesports. And yeah, you know, like you said, avoiding the flash, an aggressive position from Rops to catch out that, you know, burst out of apartments. If he was playing in the pit, he would be fully blind. But no, ready and waiting for that push is Mousesports as they take 15 rounds. And this is in the 3rd map as well of this series. SK, a team expected to be making it to the grand finals at the very least. Obviously, this is not quite elimination in the Swiss system, but Mousesports, they're about to go 2-0 here in the Swiss if they can just find this final round. And Chris J, he wants to do it. There's the first kill from Banana. So much damage to Taco as well. The nade won't finish off the job, but Mousesports have retained the control of Banana. Fur, that's a good shot to Oscar as he takes down the AWP on A. And that will begin a quick wrap because now his teammates can leave Banana. We still have a triple B setup in play, and Mousesports are desperately trying to renegotiate back towards this A site, but Fur won't let them.
Oh, it's all going to come down to Robs here. Again, tucked away in a nice corner here. Definite opportunity for multiple kills, but it's all about the timing that SK puts together as they push up on site. Already clear that pit. Oh, Fur is not going to be able to put pressure on from both sides. I think actually finds a second frag as well.
And now Rops is still here. They haven't spotted him. He's got the off angle onto Fallen, but Fallen catches him first. Now Chris J. All that remains here for Mousesports in this round, at least, in a 1v2. Fallen spotted. Doesn't know where Cold is just yet. The flash is perfect. Fallen doesn't want to risk facing too early. He does go in. Still tagged as Chris J is fully blind, but he's got to get a reload in. 5 bullets left. Even though Fallen's low, he can't take down coldzera with this much limited ammo. Smoke on the bomb. Even if he commits to the defuse here, that will not be enough. They're going to be so ready for this. And
he's
on the bomb, but yeah, that was a bit optimistic from Chris. What else can you do in that position?
Go for the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Gotta respect it.
You know, I'll give that to him, you know.
Yeah. It's a fortunate. Mousesports, though, definitely making a chance for themselves in that round, even though they do get drawn way too hard over that B bomb site. But obviously, Robs, if he's able to downfall in there, can still manage to stay alive for a little bit. Have the last remaining SK player actually just run into him. Again, that's going to create more time for Chris J to get into a proper position. They're going to have more accurate information as to where he is. In the end, SK managed to pull through it. And we've talked about it. They did this on Mirage as well. Climb back. It remains to be seen 5 match points for Mousesports.
And Oscar a wide peak as well mid. Considering he's the only man on watching mid here, he's actually peeking both boiler and middle. Just so reliant on his flick shotting ability to actually take both fights at once. But instead he falls back off the angle. SK work their way up towards the A bomb site, and utility thrown down by Mousesports, that of which they have plenty of. First caught in the corner, he still catches the kill. Stiko goes out wide and he's going to pay the price of his life. Rops does trade at the very least. As SK still continue this assault towards the A-bomb site, Sunny's having wrapped up through long, and he's going to be able to take down Taco. Warp's still there, and Rops in the pit. coldzera won't check the spot. Rops has been playing here half the game, so it's a huge surprise why coldzera doesn't at least expect that position. Now it's all on Bolts. A 1v4 to save SK from losing this best-of-3 series, but Rops, who else would finish off that kill? 3 for him in the final map, and that will be 16 rounds for Mousesports.
Yeah, Mousesports doing it. Manages to get it to that 3rd map, and going into Inferno, they were by far the better team. Safe to say, and Robs, as you mentioned, been playing that period area pretty much the entire CT half and doing it to excellence as well. Ends up the game with 26 frags, being the top fragger on the side of Mousesports, and definitely doing his part. And honestly,